Ladies and gentlemen, boys and children of all ages, the big show is on your radio. This is ESPN Upstate. Hello to you, and how do you do, Upstate South Carolina? It is great to be back with you again. I am Rob Brown. The pleasure exclusively ours. Thanks so much for joining us here on the show. Hope you are having an outstanding day. No matter where you are, stop the count. 3 straight days of absolutely beautiful weather outside. It is gorgeous today around the upstate. So whether you are sitting outside in the backyard, relaxing, having a beer, sitting inside, doing a little bit of work, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, we are so glad to have you along for the ride. I am Rob Brown, of course, hanging out with you here live at the Casa de Love, back in the network studio, pushing the button, switching the switches, making the show sound as good as it does. Colonel Grudge himself, hashtag Dad Kicks, the man, the myth, the legend, the long-haired one, the alpha and the omega of ESPN Upstate, the conductor of the symphony sound. That is the Rob Brown Show. Lonzo in charge of the broadcast. What up, Zo?
I am looking longedly outside the window. You know what I'm wondering? I'm wondering what the geese are doing today.
They're off murdering, pillaging, plundering. You know, what geese do. Yesterday, so I thought to myself that the geese were outside last night, and I thought to myself that I might go outside and make friends. Then I had some long grain bread. My brother's one of those guys that eats grain bread. You know, it's not really like real bread. It's like, instead of making the bread, they take a bunch of grains and they just mash it together in a vaguely bread shape. So I walked outside with 4 or 5 pieces of this grain bread that he left from his weekend up in the upstate a couple of weeks ago. And I thought, all right, I'm going to go outside. I will give this long grain bread to the geese to try to make friends with them. A few of them walked over to me. They were doing just fine. I thought that we were making progress until I ran out of bread, Zoe, and one of them actually tried to grab the bag out of my hand, ended up biting me on the hand, and they've got these tiny little serrated dinosaur teeth in their mouth. So he ends up like trying to grab the bread bag out of my hand, bites me. When I pull back from him, he has the audacity to stare at me as if it was my fault, and then comes after the bag again. It was the closest I have gotten, Lonzo, to actually kicking a goose. I did not do it, but I wanted to.
I think it would be perfectly acceptable if you were to punt the goose after it, bit you. I mean,
So there. Now you have your question answered. That's where they're doing.
How
injuring for fun.
How far could you punt the goose if you were inclined to punt the goose? How many yards do you think you can get it?
A punt implies that I would be picking up the goose, dropping him, and kicking him out of the air. I think your best bet would be that you were going to actually place kick the goose, right? Like a kickoff or a field goal. You'd be kicking him off the ground. They are significantly heavier than a football, but I'm thinking I could get a solid 20, 22 yards out of it if I was able to run up on the goose, attack him blindly, and just get one good swift place kick. I think I could get him a solid 20.
So if the goose were to take flight, midway through the kick, does that count on your distance?
No, I know. I mean, the goose has got to land. Preferably, you kick it hard enough that you knock it out, and it's got to take fall damage as well, for the record. Just saying. All right. We have – how did we get here? We have got a lot of things to get to on the radio broadcast today. The Atlanta Braves actually playing baseball right now. They are in a doubleheader against the D.C. Nationals. They had a game slated for Monday against D.C., but that game had to be put on the back burner, unfortunately, due to COVID issues. and other issues that impacted the Nationals. They did play one game last night. The Braves went 4 for 4 with 4 home runs early in the game and then found a way to lose it. They went back and lost that game successfully. Very, very impressive. Very impressive way to lose that game. But they are back at it today. A doubleheader against the Nationals up in D.C. And one that the Bravos are very much going to want to take a W or two away from. You don't want to start your season 0-6. And it looks like there is a real possibility that could happen today. So we're going to talk a little bit about Bravos baseball coming up here in just a little while from now. We've got to get into the fact that the bats were hot yesterday and everything else was very much not. So that's coming around the corner. We've got the latest in the Deshaun Watson case that has been breaking over the past 24 hours or so. So that's coming up in just a few minutes. Plus, something that Mark Ryan has been saying to me for a number of years. And I've always said that he was dead wrong, that he was crazy for this take. But after that national championship game a couple of nights ago, I'm starting to come around. I'm starting to think that that Mark Ryan may actually have a point. And I'm going to tell you what that is coming up in a little while. But before we get to any of that, Lonzo, we got to do that little thing we do to start every show.
Let's do lunch.
This is a very nutritious lunch. All the food groups are represented. You guys are here.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here? Lunch!
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for the lunch breakdown right here on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate. These are the top 3 sports stories right now, the 3 things that you need to know about before you go start talking sports with your friends, your families, your coworker, or the dog, whoever you spend your lunch break with. And we start with item number 1. The Sam Darnold trade fallout is still happening around the league. And now there is discussion that the Carolina Panthers may very well be willing to trade out of that 8 spot if they can find a dance party who is happy looking for a quarterback like a Trey Lance. Draft Wire from USA Today has put up their most recent compiled draft. They take all of their draft experts, they put them all in a room, and they have them come up with the draft trade they think is most likely and the way it's most likely to fall down. Well, at that number 8 spot where the Carolina Panthers currently sit, they have the Chicago Bears trading up in order to get Trey Lance. They know that Trey Lance is a guy that could very well fall down in the order if a couple of other teams decide to pass on a quarterback earlier in the draft. The Bears have publicly committed to Andy Dalton as their starter for 2021, but there is no plan plus that. Ryan Pace, Matt Nagy, that combo running out of time to save their jobs and taking a long-term quarterback prospect might help buy them some time. Dalton would start week 1 in this case, but Trey Lance will be on the sideline getting better and building up. They have the Carolina Panthers trading down out of that number 8 spot and ending up back in the Chicago Bears space down at number 20. They drop back at a fistful of draft picks in order to make that happen and still end up, according to Draft Wire from USA Today, with Virginia Tech cornerback Caleb Farley, a guy that a lot of folks think in any other draft year would be a top 10 player. Losing James Bradbury last offseason left Carolina needing a big athletic corner. Offseason back surgery could cause Farley to take a bit of a tumble down the board, but the talent and huge roof of potential could end up making him a steal at number 20, according to USA Today. Zoe and I both talked yesterday quite a bit about what we thought was going to happen at number 8. And so both of you and I said that we thought there was a strong possibility that the Carolina Panthers could end up trading down and ending up in a spot exactly like what USA Today has them doing right here.
It'd be a good move for them if they could pick up a couple picks and gain some of what they lost by trading for Sam Darnold. And it just makes sense because whoever you wanted at 8 is still going to be there a little bit further down, and you can get some more picks out of it. I think they should do it.
All right, we'll come back to that later on in the show. You're welcome to join us at 844-GSP, ESPN 844-477-3776. Item numero dos on the lunch breakdown this morning. It is, yes, indeed, Masters Eve. Tomorrow, the tradition, unlike any other, begins, and we are going to have a deep breakdown of it coming up later on. But a quick preview of our Masters right now. There are usually about a dozen players in the mix that we expect to be competitive when it's all said and done. And this year is no different for the Masters. The defending champion, Dustin Johnson, is a plus 900 bet at MGM in Vegas. That is to say, lay a hundo to try to win 9 when it's all said and done. Some of the other top tier guys, Bryson DeChambeau, Jon Rahm, Justin Thomas, all of whom right now sit around the plus 1,100 to 1 range, meaning drop a hundo, end up with $1,100 if they win. One player that comes with a warning label but has some pretty interesting odds, Rory McIlroy at plus 1,800. He has been changing everything about his game. He is only missing a green jacket to complete the career Grand Slam, but he hasn't won a major since back in 2014. Can he get it right on the way in? Some sleeper picks. Cameron Smith plus 4,000 over his past 3 Masters, has notched 5th and 2nd place finishes and is having some pretty good run in regular tournaments right now. Will Zalatoris plus 6,600 is hiding a hot run right now, strong in a lot of statistical categories. Now, he never played the Masters before, chance that he might be intimidated, but those odds make for an interesting play. And then there are some prop bets, and we're going to get into some prop bets later on in the day as well. Some players that are looking at winning you a little money. So we're going to get into all of that later on in the show as we are here on Masters Eve getting ready. Hello, friends, for the tournament, the tradition, unlike any other. And finally, an update, the latest on where we stand with the Deshaun Watson case. We are all keeping an eye on it, though I suspect, right, wrong, fair, or indifferent, that it's for a different reason now, as it would appear that the Carolina Panthers are likely out of the Deshaun Watch 2021 which now has a brand new meaning to it. Would Carolina still make a move for Deshaun and end up setting Teddy elsewhere and keeping a $20 million quarterback in the reserve? I doubt it. It's a possibility, but I also know there are a lot of folks interested in this just solely because of the fact that Deshaun is from the hood. Deshaun now facing 22 separate civil lawsuits, but the Texans QB has also now been hit with several criminal complaints. On April 2nd, the Houston Police Department announced the first criminal complaint filed against Watson since the first lawsuit was filed back in mid-March. Another criminal complaint was brought forward as the woman who filed the first lawsuit against Watson provided a statement to police. According to Tony Busby, yesterday, the HPD said in a statement on April 2nd, a complainant filed a report with the Houston Police Department concerning Deshaun Watson. As with any allegation, the HPD is now conducting an investigation and will not comment further during the investigative process, end quote. Houston police have still not revealed any details about the first criminal complaint, so it's unknown if it's related to any of the lawsuits that have been filed by Busby. But we are keeping an eye on that as well. All of the lawsuits are claiming that Watson committed at least one act of sexual misconduct or assault against them. One of the lawsuits refers to Watson as a, quote, serial predator, end quote. Rusty Hardin has come out and spoken out as well. And this is where things are going to start to get interesting, because we've talked about both attorneys' desire to win the public battle of public relations. Well, Deshaun Watson's attorney claims that accuser Ashley Solis, who is the first woman to come forward and identify herself, she identified herself as Jane Doe number 1 on Tuesday. Rusty Hardin is saying that Ashley Solis demanded $100,000 in hush money from Deshaun Watson before filing her lawsuit. And according to TMZ, Watson's attorney, Rusty Hardin, claims that he has the emails to prove that she demanded hush money. Solis was the first accuser to file a sexual misconduct lawsuit against the Texans QB back on March 16th and used the pseudonym to protect her identity. She came forward with a news conference alongside Tony Busby yesterday and spelled out her case against Watson, at one point explaining, "People say I'm doing this just for the money. That is false. I come forward now so that Deshaun does not assault any other woman." End quote. Watson's attorney Hardin says this is absolutely about money, claiming Busby approached one of Watson's reps back in February in an effort to, quote, quietly settle the allegations the month before he filed the first lawsuit. Hardin says he has the email sent to Busby associate Cornelia Branfield Harvey to one of Watson's representatives back on February 9th, spelling out the demand that includes, quote, "My client's demand is $100,000, end quote, and, quote, "This offer remains open until Friday of this week." Hardin claims Deshaun's rep pushed back against the demand with the following email response, end quote, "We don't believe that the alleged facts show that Deshaun did anything wrong with regards to Ms. Solis, but we are nevertheless happy to continue the conversation around a reasonable settlement figure because we believe he can learn a lesson about having put himself in this situation," end quote. Busby responded to that by saying, quote, "We made a legitimate demand. You rejected it. We won't be making another or bid against ourselves. We also won't be having an extended dialogue about why you think your client did nothing wrong or how you want this to be a learning experience for your high-profile athlete, as you refer to him. This is Houston, Texas. Perhaps you should find a lawyer here so you can apprise both you and your client of the landscape here and who you are dealing with. Talk soon," end quote. So, the Deshaun Watson team, though, is claiming that Ashley Solis, who is Jane Doe number 1, the first lawsuit filed, did indeed come forward with a demand for 6 figures in order to stop the lawsuit from going forward. Hardin says he can prove it. Busby responded by basically saying that they did make an offer to settle before they went to a civil lawsuit. They have elected not to settle, and now they have decided to move on to the next step. I thought up until that statement that Tony Busby had been kind of putting on a masterclass of how to run the court of public opinion. But if he just admitted that this woman came out with $100K worth of settlement request, it kind of lends some credence to all the people that have been claiming that this is just a cash grab from some of these women. Either way, it certainly sets up a new dynamic in the conversation.
Well, if they continue with this, Deshaun's not going to have any cash left to pay out because Nike suspended him, and now it's just out that Beats by Dre has ended its relationship with Deshaun Watson. So, I mean, he still has his NFL contract and the money there. So if this comes out, again, like we talked about before, if this comes out to be all false and a money grab like you're talking about, his character is never going to recover from this.
Yeah, look, we've seen.
It still comes down to, man, 50 women. You're bringing in 50 women. It just doesn't look good. Sure. It does not.
It also doesn't look good in the sense of fairness. It also doesn't look good on the other side that the first step for these women was to send an email wanting $100K. And we'll see if this is the only case where that happened. But no, it doesn't look great on either side. I'm not arguing with that at all. We're going to talk more about that later on the show as well. But we got to take a quick break to get back on the clock. My name is Rob Brown. My man Zoe back in the network studio, pushing the buttons, switching the switches. We are back right after this. Rob Lonzo and you on the Rob Brown Show. This is ESPN Upstate.
Prisma.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your computer and tablet at ESPNUpstate.com.
There's not a whole heck of a lot that you can count on the Tigers and the Gamecocks of Clemson and U of SC to agree on at any given point. But there is one thing they do agree on that can help you and your family. And that, of course, is Prisma Health. Prisma Health, with over 2,400 doctors and nurses within their healthcare system, is here to help you. They are the official healthcare providers for both University of South Carolina and Clemson University's athletic departments, and they can be the official healthcare provider for you and your family as well. If Clemson and South Carolina both agree that Prisma is the best option to take care of their athletes, why wouldn't they be the best option to take care of you and your family as well? Check out their website at prismahealth.org. Prismahealth.org. You can search through their 2,400 doctors in their network to find one who is right for you, find a location, and set up an appointment anywhere that is convenient for you to get the healthcare help that you need. Go to prismahealth.org to learn more. That's prismahealth.org. It's our friends at Prisma right here in the Upstate.
AutomotiveMap.com.
Couldn't help but notice, Rob, that I don't see a WrestleMania sign. Where's your WrestleMania sign? I mean, come on. You know, mine is still up. I want to point that out. It's still right there. I'm kind of pointing towards it. Yeah.
I couldn't help but notice, Lonzo, that when I got up this morning with every intention of creating my WrestleMania sign before we started, I don't own a blank piece of paper in this entire daggum apartment. So it comes down to I am both at the same time unprepared, Lonzo, and lazy together at once.
Well, I mean, you know, you could just like draw it on the wall. You could do that.
I don't think my landlord would appreciate that all that much.
Probably not, but you know.
Hang on, let me see. I might have one over there in my junk mail trash. Hang on. Yes, it is important.
So, is it weird that Rob doesn't have a blank piece of paper in his apartment? I guess that's not really strange. I love this. Unprepared and lazy, the rallying cry for our generation. I wouldn't say everyone in your generation is that way. I'm not going to exclude present company, though. We'll see how resourceful he is right now. Notice he took himself off camera as he went to scrounge for paper. I have a lot of paper at my house still because I still, you know, I'm old-fashioned and print things out. In case, you know, computers go down or something, then you have some written copy in front of you. It's just like a backup.
Okay, found a piece.
Look at that. You're being criticized for not having paper.
And I don't have anything. I'm just going to stick it in the corner of that frame, of that picture frame.
Yeah, that's what I would do. Just, I mean, if that thing presses enough, you should be able to hang it like right underneath it. We're coming back, by the way.
Fabulous.
Rob Brown Lockdown on Twitter. Tweet at The Rob Brown Show on the Upstate Sports Leader, ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. This is ESPN Upstate. Join us on our live stream at Facebook.com/ESPN Upstate, YouTube.com/The Rob Brown Show, or on Twitter at Twitter.com/The Rob Brown Show. You can access our live stream in any of those destinations, you can join Lonzo and I behind the scenes. We have conversations off the air with you, the listener, where you can check in, give us topics, suggestions, things you want us to talk about, et cetera, et cetera. Hit us up at facebook.com/ESPN Upstate or youtube.com/The Rob Brown Show in order to watch along and play along with us behind the scenes. 844-GSP, ESPN is the number to be a part of the program. So as Zoe mentioned on the way out, Deshaun Watson has now lost a pair of big-time corporate sponsorships. Nike has suspended Deshaun Watson while the investigation plays out. Beats by Dre has dropped Deshaun Watson from their endorsement list to big-time major companies. And, it's a reality that he is going to have to face. Look, I still have heard, in fact, I think over the weekend, got into a conversation about this story with a couple of folks because once people find out who I am, they start to want to talk to me about all things sports, which is fine with me. I love this gig. That's why I do it. But they were asking, how real might this be? What are the odds that Deshaun did this? And if it is the case, why didn't we hear anything about it going on at Clemson, right? During his time at Clemson, Deshaun Watson was known to be a model student, a model citizen, a guy that certainly had the reputation of being a good dude. He had that reputation in Houston as well, and I'm certainly not saying that reputation was undeserved. This is why Lonzo and I have both been saying in recent weeks that both of us are of the mindset that we need to let this play all the way through before we make a character judgment about Deshaun Watson. We don't know the guy personally. We can't be sure what he is like behind closed doors. We don't know if he is capable of these things or not. There is a heck of a lot of smoke. Does not necessarily mean that there is most definitely fire here, but there is enough for two major corporate sponsors to elect to drop Deshaun Watson from their lineups. And that is not a move that is made lightly by these types of companies, right? That's not something they just do. It is not a move that they make lightly. It is a move that there is a lot of consideration put into. There is a move understanding. There is an understanding there that if they decide to pull back from the sponsorship and nothing is found to be wrong, they could face retaliatory lawsuits from Deshaun Watson down the road. They have to know that and have to understand that it is a real possibility that they could face backlash for these moves as well. So it's not really something that is going to be taken lightly by organizations like Nike, like Beats by Dre, etc. As we've pointed out, this is the acknowledgement by Tony Busby that at least one of the women, looks like the very first woman, reached out to Deshaun's management staff and said, I want $100K or I bring this to the front. Here's the thing. It being a cash grab is only relevant if it didn't happen, and it's called a cash grab. Lonzo, I would go so far as to say that if this woman asked for $100K to make it go away, but can prove that it happened, it still means that Deshaun Watson is incapable of some pretty gross behavior overall that he would need to be held responsible for. It does not mean that he is off the hook and, it is what it is. It's a cash grab. If he is proven to have gone through and done all of this, there are still crimes to be answered for, even if the woman did reach out asking for money before it happened. So even if that email comes to light, even if it is proven that she did ask for a hundo before she decided to take this to a civil court, it does not change the fact that Deshaun Watson did something that is frankly unacceptable.
In the end, if he did as is accused, her asking for money really has nothing to do with it. And you know what? If he's found guilty, he needs to be punished for his crimes. And really, it comes down to I get the cash grab thing, and it does bother me. And I always try to, as you've talked about, we try to hear both sides and not find someone guilty until you hear everything. And chances are we won't hear everything. And we still don't know that this won't be settled out of court. Sure. Because there's every possibility, especially with sponsors dropping right now. And when you are someone like him, he is a brand. And when your brand is suffering, eventually, unless you are adamant and you believe without a doubt that you are completely innocent, then you fight through to the end. But if it starts pinching, hitting your purse so much that you can't handle it anymore, then you go ahead and settle. So I would not be shocked if settlement still doesn't happen.
There is the reality here. There is the reality here that fighting a court case does become extremely expensive, and settling becomes the better option, even if you did not do anything. And if Deshaun Watson settles, then we will all get to reassess our opinions, our thoughts on this conversation. Settling basically means that there will be no finding of guilty or not guilty. It just means that Deshaun found a point where it was more valuable for him to let this thing go. Found a point where it was more valuable for him to just make these women go away and not have to fight it anymore. But remember, in his first Instagram post, when the first lawsuits dropped, in his first Instagram post, Deshaun said, I am going to fight to clear my name. I am going to fight to prove to people that this is not a real thing. And yes, there will be, fair or unfair, some addressing about Deshaun Watson's character from a lot of people based on if he was to decide to settle or not. So this situation continues to grow. It continues to get uglier. The both attorneys are working, as we've mentioned multiple times, very diligently to try to win in the court of public opinion. I suspect that the attorney for Deshaun Watson, Mr. Harden, had saved up the complaint in the email at a point in time where he was waiting for the camp of the women behind Busby to say, well, we're not doing this for money, so that he could drop the email where they asked for money. And the fact that Busby responded to it that way shows me that they did do that. Not that it changes anything. Still are questions about his behavior that have to be answered, but it does sway the court of public opinion a little bit. And as much as though, and this, I hate using those words, because the only court that should be mattering is the one with the judge and the jury inside of it, right? But the court of public opinion will impact Deshaun Watson's future in the league every bit as much, if not more, than whatever is found in a civil court if this case makes it that far. And it does sound, according to the statement from Busby, it does sound as if they are still very much planning on taking this to civil court. Busby's statement sounds to me like he's saying, hey, we offered to settle. We offered to help you make this thing go away for a bit of repayment to make up for it. You elected not to do it, and we will not be making a second offer. And if that is the case, Lonzo, then I suspect that in the next handful of months, this thing will find itself in front of a judge.
I'm also curious about what the NFL is going to do and when they're going to do it. A lot of times when things like this come out, the NFL will come out and say, we're conducting our own investigation. Have you heard that? Because I don't recall hearing that they're investigating this.
I haven't heard it publicly, Zoe, but that does not mean that it's not happening. I have no doubt that the NFL has people looking into this right now. It doesn't mean that anything is going to come of it, but I couldn't imagine that Roger Goodell doesn't currently have people inside the National Football League that aren't taking a look at this very closely. The thing is, they right now are going to have to be in a holding pattern because they've got to also wait for the same information that we are waiting on to drop before they can move forward. They've got to see what Busby has. They've got to see how Deshaun Watson responds to it. They've got to see if the Texans have any additional information. Busby also released a statement saying that he thinks he can show that the Houston Texans may have known about this. And that is one reason that some folks believe, though, that the Texans were very adamant about not trading Deshaun Watson. They knew this was coming, because what would have happened to the Texans if they knew this was a possibility? They knew these lawsuits were coming. I'm not saying this is what happened. I'm saying it's a theory. What would the response have been to the Houston Texans had the Texans went forward with the trade, shipped Deshaun Watson out, and then 2 weeks later, these lawsuits all drop in his lap? There's going to be an NFL team somewhere that is going to claim corruption. They're going to say, Houston knew about this, and they let us go through with this trade anyway. We don't accept it. We're not okay with it. And we want compensation back for it. There's also just the possibility that Houston didn't know anything about it. They were just, I'll be damned if we're not going to make this guy who signed a long-term contract with us play through the contract.
You know, speaking of Houston, what do they do? I mean, going forward, do they? Because they don't know if they're going to have, if they had planned, which we believe, at least I believe, that they were not going to trade him. Now they have to make plans of the fact that he may not be there one way or another, either through suspension or through other things. Because if it does go to civil trial and he loses, the NFL has no choice but to suspend him. And for how long, who knows? Maybe half the season, maybe the entire season. So Houston wasn't going to be good anyway, but now they've got to be looking at what they do at quarterback.
Yep, 100%. And on top of all of that, if it does come out with all of with the Texans having known about this and not putting it forward, they may very well be in a point where the Panthers were a couple of years ago, where the NFL says, all right, McNairs, you're out. We're out. We're not going to let you to continue. We're not going to allow you to continue to own this franchise. You can sell the franchise, or we can just dismantle it on your behalf. It's your pick. A couple of texts that have come in and responses that have come in. This is coming in on the stream. My buddy Carter checking in says, unprepared and lazy, the rallying cry for our generation. For those of you that missed on the stream, Lonzo has hung his WrestleMania sign to point to gratuitously every time we talk about it. I did not, because I called myself unprepared and lazy. Carter also says, yep, cash grab doesn't mean it didn't happen. That's exactly right. Keegan says, what if it comes out that the, quote, gratification did happen, but was consensual with all the women? Does it change his image? I'm going to tell you exactly what I've said about Tiger Woods. If you are young and a billionaire with a great smile and good looks, and you want to go get pleasured by 100,000 women, that's your business. That's your life, dude. I'm not here for it. If he's got a parade of women coming in who want to please Deshaun Watson in that way, I don't care at all. Have that, big dog. It's your life. It's not mine to run. If it was not consensual and it can be proven, he's going to be under the jail. That's just the way it goes. All right, take a break. Back after this. Rob Lonzo, the Rob Brown Show's on your radio. It's ESPN Upstate.
Your chance to bank a grand in $1,000.
Carter, what's up, brother? How you been, man? Long time no hear from. This is very very funny to me. The two unofficial official chaplains of the Rob Brown Show are here as Carter meet Keegan, Keegan meet Carter. I know you guys are Carter's watching on Twitter and Keegan is watching on Facebook, so you guys are on different platforms to interact. But Carter is my preacher friend from the last handful of years of my life, and Keegan is my my youth pastor friend from here in the Ville. So it's you know, I keep bumping into you guys, man. Would you look at that? I take slight but not a ton of offense to that, Keegan. Zoe, you missed it when I don't know if you heard when you walked away. CM1165 is my buddy Carter from back in the day. He is he's a preacher that I've been friends with for years. And then, of course, the first person that I made friends with when I got here to Greenville was Keegan, who's the youth pastor as well. And well, Keegan's apparently got a theory. The people will know the results of Pimento Gate 2021 when the poll ends.
Listen, it's a little obvious. Look at the look on his face. It's a little obvious that he feels vindicated that pimento cheese is amazing. I haven't even looked at it, but look how happy he is.
I would just like to say,
I'm not going to change my mind.
I would just like to say that I do not feel
30 seconds.
vindicated, Zoe. I don't feel vindicated. I feel correct.
Well, considering that it's an opinion, I mean, it's not a fact. So, I mean, good on you. Your opinion hasn't changed, and neither is mine.
He's not messing
Pimento cheese.
around. Unfiltered sports talk on the Rob Brown Show, ESPN Upstate.
Checking the text line real quick. Got to make a quick segment here to get back on the clock. A couple of texts that have come in at ESPN. Hey, Rob, I have a few airsoft guns that might fix the goose problem. Love it. Love it. I have now challenged both Mark Ryan and a flock of geese to an airsoft contest. Let's see.
I just want to say real quick, the geese will accept quicker than Mark Ryan will.
Let's see. ESPN, unless the Bears are giving up Allen Robinson or Khalil Mack, there's absolutely no reason the Panthers should give up the 8th and potentially Kyle Pitts, same guy who predicted the Sam Darnold trade on your show, by the way. Shy from Copeland. Shy, appreciate that text. Now look, if you get that haul from Chicago, it's going to come with an absolute ransom of draft picks. All right. It is going to come with a ransom of draft picks. If Trey Lance is on the board, I would love it. Look, if Pitts is on the board, I make that move. All right. I think he has basically worked himself up into being the most valuable non-quarterback in the first round of the draft here. So I agree. If Kyle Pitts is on the board, I absolutely make that play for him. But if he's not, you're going to be able to get some first-tier linemen down around that 20 mark if you want to go line. They've got a guy that a lot of us think is a steal at 20 coming out at the quarterback spot. So there's a possibility. At ESPN, Rob Brown, the more I hear about Watson, the more it takes me back to Michael Vick. They were both amazing quarterbacks in their first few years and then had criminal allegations against them. It ruined Vick's career and probably will ruin Watson's career, even if he's proven innocent, quote unquote. Keep in mind, you're not proven innocent. You're just proven not guilty. And that is important, again, in the court of public opinion, as if you are proven not guilty, there will still be a lot of folks who feel like they're just like there's just too much smoke for there not to be a fire. But you got a great point and a fair comparison. At ESPN, Watson cannot make a settlement. If he does, his name and brand will forever have a cloud over it. Yeah, Zoe, we talk about the court of public opinion. If Deshaun Watson was to settle now, there's going to be a huge swath of people who are going to say he only settled so that evidence didn't have to come to light in the courtroom. He will carry that around. Look, if you're Deshaun and you truly did nothing wrong, and he and these women are the only ones that know, if you're Deshaun and you truly did nothing wrong, at this point, it might behoove your career. Even if it is more expensive, it might behoove your career to go to court and let there not be the preponderance of evidence necessary to find you guilty, and try to play it out that way, because a settlement, even though it is not a settlement in the eyes of the public, does come across as an admission of guilt and a desire not to have evidence shown to the light. So how Deshaun Watson handles this, Lonzo, every move from Deshaun and his attorney now is a career move for Deshaun Watson.
The only way to salvage it is to probably go to court and win. That's the only way to salvage his. I don't know if necessarily this will ruin his career, but especially since it's a civil trial and still not a criminal trial, but it will definitely tarnish it big time. But if he goes to court and he wins, then a lot of people will probably forgive, I guess. And then there are some people who still won't believe it and will believe he did everything, whether he's found guilty or, innocent or not.
Sure. You're absolutely right. All right. 844-GSP-ESPN, 844-477-3776. And in the stream, Steven says the people need to know the results of Pimento Gate 2021. When we come back here in a second, I will give you, with an hour left to go, you people still have an hour to let your voice be heard. With an hour left to go in our poll, I'll let you know how it ended, or at least how it looks like it's going to end, from our Pimento Gate 2021 poll from yesterday. Suffice to say, quick break. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show. It's ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show.
Yeah, trust me, that struggle, Steven, is quite real, my man. Quite real. You'll notice that on the desk here in front of me, I keep the bottle of Claritin. Over here, I keep the bag of cough drops over here for when those become necessary, and they do. And then it fell off the front of my desk, so I have to pick it up. But I got a thing of, what is it, Sudafed Daytime or whatever down there on the floor in front of me. I have learned that lesson many times over, Stephen. Many times over. I will never make the mistake of trying to make nice with the geese again. You know, I thought maybe we could, I connect with most people over food. I thought perhaps if I bring them a little something outside, I could win over their affection or at least mitigate the violence. It turns out that the geese had no interest in negotiations. They used me. They used me for my food. They used me for the free snacky snacks. And then after they concluded their usage of me, I was nothing more than a temporary target. Of course, as soon as I start making my WrestleMania sign, I pick up the only pen in my house that's dead. Because why not?
Not to worry, you'll get there eventually. You only have 2 more days. You're good.
I feel like as long as it's up by tomorrow night, I'm within the window. And also, Zoe, this will come as a huge surprise to you, but I have no art skills whatsoever.
You're a guitarist, so, I mean, you know. Although I'm sure you have more artistic skills than, let's say, a drummer does. But, you know.
No, my drummer's pretty damn artistic. Actually, I meant to show you, see if I can find a picture of it. He has done something super cool with his drum kit that I think you are going to absolutely love.
One minute.
So it may be a little hard to see, Zoe. See if I can zoom in on this picture. Oh, no, I guess it's not going to let me. Anyway, see his kit here. He has completely wrapped it in cutout frames from comic books.
Cool.
So all of his drums and everything, and they're all like, I think they're mostly all Marvel, but he's got different characters. So he's got like a Wolverine drum and a Deadpool drum and a Captain America drum. It's pretty sweet.
That's awesome. Coming back.
Call 844-GSP-ESPN. Text keyword ESPN and your message to 71307. Get in the game on the Rob Brown Show. Only on ESPN Upstate.
All right, wrapping up hour number 1 here on the broadcast. Yesterday, we asked you, towards the end of the show, we had Savannah Lee from the Brunswick News come out to talk a little bit about the Masters yesterday. And she brought up that she was super excited because it's pimento cheese season. Lonzo then tried to convince America that pimento cheese was actually bad, that it was no bueno. So I put up a poll on our Twitter account, which, by the way, you have 1 hour left to vote in if you feel so inclined, and said we need your vote. And I gave you 3 options. Pimento cheese is A, delicious, B, bad, or C, okay, but it's down on the list of cheeses, which Lonzo agreed was a fair way to phrase the poll. I wasn't trying to force anybody into taking a selection that they did not like. 115 votes in, and we do have time to add to that collection. 115 votes in, and the poll results are: in last place, 14.8% of those votes say pimento cheese is bad. 21.7% of those votes say pimento cheese is okay, but it's down on the list of cheeses. And 63.5% of those votes are correct and say pimento cheese is delicioso. Lonzo, an overwhelming majority of people.
See, this is fake news because that is barely above 50%, obviously.
Wait, that is over a third.
That's barely above 50%.
Look, man, I don't know how the Buckeyes do math up there up in the OHIO, though, but I do know my dumb little old brain is aware that 63.5 is more than 2 out of every 3 people, and that's definitely more than half.
I think maybe some dead people voted in this poll, and possibly people voted more than once.
Gotcha. We had some illegal votes going on. Pimento cheese is delicious, and Lonzo must now reckon with that fact. Time for your chance to win a grand in the $1,000 cash dash right here on ESPN Upstate. Your key word for this upcoming 1 o'clock hour is airplane. AIRPLANE, airplane. You're going to text the word airplane to 72881. 72881 for your chance to win a grand, powered by BetQL. Let BetQL's proven data and analytics help you become a better. Download the BetQL app today. Text and data rates may apply in this national contest. Again, this hour's keyword is airplane. AIRPLANE. Text that word to 72881 for your chance to win a grand. Coming up in the next hour of the show, a couple of topics to get into. Something that Mark Ryan has always said that's driven me crazy, but Gonzaga has me believing it now. We're going to talk about that coming up in the next hour, plus further analysis of the Sam Darnold trade to the Carolina Panthers. Where does that leave them? All that and more coming up next on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate.
ESPN Upstate, WYRD Greenville.
Killing me.
Yeah, that was real long. I apologize.
Someone has called me a stoner on the message board, and I'm heavily offended, highly offended, completely offended.
But
my hair is a rail against stereotypes such as this. I've never imbibed in my entire life and never shall. So whatever. I'm not really that offended. It isn't like I haven't been told that before. That's why, especially in Ohio, whenever I was pulled over for anything, it's always, them thinking I'm on drugs or something just because my eyes are droopy. It's not my fault. Blame my dad or my mom or somebody. Or maybe I should just embrace it and go, bro.
Did you just say my eyes are droopy and it's not my fault?
Yes. It's genetics. It's not my fault. It's not through using some chemical or something. It's just they droop like this.
I don't know if that's as funny as it is, but it is.
Both my eyelids were injured in wrestling too. So that causes some extra stuff. Oh, absolutely.
How do you injure your eyelids?
One of my eyelids, this one right here, you can't see, but it was nearly ripped off completely by someone who should have cut their nails.
See, y'all wrestlers are messed up, though. I know we've had that conversation.
The bad part is it was bleeding, and my dumb coaches, one in particular, decided to put ice in because it was swollen too, in a towel and put it on my eye, and so the blood was clotting, and people would come into the office and go, "Let me see it. How bad is it?" And then they would pull it off, and it would start bleeding again. It was My mom nearly made me quit too, but the coaches talked her out of it.
Of course they did. Sorry we almost permanently injured your child's vision, but don't hold it against us. We're not doctors.
Yeah, they convinced her. That's all I care about.
You didn't want to quit, obviously.
No.
For an official
Needs eyelids anyway.
Lockdown.
Represents being real. Yeah.
Real, unfiltered sports talk manufactured locally for the Carolinas.
Lockdown.
This is the Rob Brown Show.
Yeah.
Only on ESPN.
ESPN Upstate.
Let's get back to it. The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. This is ESPN Upstate. Rob and Alonzo and you be a part of the show. 844-477-3776 is the number to be a part of the program. We certainly would love for you to jump on board and chat with us today. Text us 71307. 71307 is the text line. If you want to jump in that way, you can tweet us at The Rob Brown Show, at The Rob Brown Show. And at Lonzo on Word, the two Twitter accounts. Join us on the live stream by going to facebook.com/ESPN Upstate. Facebook.com.
Bro, check out the face stream. It's so tasty.
Anthony Parker jumped in during the break and said, I love you and your show, but this is the first time I've seen it live. Lonzo looks just like his voice, a stoner as a member of Deep Purple. Laughing emoji, laughing emoji, laughing emoji. Zoe, I'll notice that you did not contest that appearance take. You agreed with it, but then said it wasn't your fault.
Well, yeah, because first of all, I've never taken a drug or drank in my entire life and never will. Part of this is genetics. Part of it is I had both eyelids damaged in high school wrestling. And the hair is on purpose. It's a rail against stereotypes, against people who judge who you are by what you look like. And there's nothing like walking into a department store or other places and having older people look at you like you stinking hippie.
How many times did people come up to you and ask you where to buy weed?
That's only actually happened once here. And it wasn't trying to buy, they were trying to sell it to me. And it was in a parking lot, and I had my children and my grandchild with me, and I immediately talked to some police people that I knew to tell them to go and check out this parking lot, because that obviously is illegal. And no, I didn't appreciate being approached, and definitely didn't appreciate being approached in front of my family. So, again, I guess it's knowing who you think your market is for that dealer guy.
I just wanted on the record that Lonzo said during the break, I have droopy eyelids and it's not my fault.
I do. Part of it's genetics. Part of it is injury. What can I do?
844-GSP-ESPN, 844-477-3776 is the number to be a part of the show. So Carolina, we are continuing to evaluate the trade for Sam Darnold. Looks like he will be the starter. The Panthers have given Teddy Bridgewater permission for he and his agent to seek out teams to act as a trade partner. We know the Panthers made a push for Matt Stafford. They were all in on Deshaun Watson. Neither one of those two quarterbacks would ultimately come to fruition, as Jared Goff would be sent for Matt Stafford from LA. And of course, we talked just a few minutes ago about what has happened with Deshaun Watson, which is preventing him from being traded right this second. I expect that Deshaun will end up on the commissioner's exempt list sooner rather than later. So Sam Darnold ends up being the guy, the 23-year-old QB with a big arm. We know that he's got explosive playmaking ability. We have seen it in multiple places. A guy that has worked with few to no offensive weapons during his entire 3-year stint with the Jets. Last year was the closest that he got to having weapons. And when he had his full cast of skill players assembled last year for the first time, every number went up. He crossed over the 70% completion percentage with a full array of weapons for the first time. His QBR for that 3 or 4 game stretch was as high as it had been for actually higher than any 3-game stretch in his entire career. In fact, there are some folks that have said that Sam Darnold was battered stock, but that the price, and I am one of those people, the price that the Panthers paid to get him was not outrageous. We have seen the guy make some big-time plays. So Scott Fitterer admitted on Monday that it was a huge gamble. He said, quote, "I still think he's highly competitive. I think he's smart enough. I like the skill set. He's only 23 years old. You know, a lot of quarterbacks don't mature and hit their prime until 24, 25, 26. So if this is a player that we can hit on him at this price, and if he is our quarterback for the future, it's definitely worth the gamble." I saw yesterday an analyst, Lonzo, refer to Sam Darnold as, quote, serviceable, end quote. And I'm not on board with that. I think he's got the potential to be better than serviceable. I mean, the worst thing you would end up with is a solid backup quarterback if things don't go well this year for whoever ends up being QB future next year. But this frees up the Panthers to bolster the offensive and defensive line, the cornerback position, which is another big need for them, which is why I've said at 8. A Penei Sewell or a J.C. Horn or a Patrick Surtain Jr. are real options there. But there are other options like we've mentioned, and the latest Draft Wire USA Today mock draft has fulfilled what I predict is going to happen, which is that the Panthers will trade back into the low teens, early 20s, amass a haul of draft picks. And here's why I like that. So let me ask you a question here. Are the Carolina Panthers a playoff team this year?
Man, that's a hard, if Christian McCaffrey stays healthy and Sam Darnold plays to his potential, absolutely.
I am going to tell you the Panthers cannot physically do better than a wild card spot. They can't. All right. As much better as they look like they will be this year, the Carolina Panthers are not going to be better than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And that's not an insult, because I don't know that anybody will be better than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this year. All right. They got the band back together. They looked great last year. I don't think anybody's going to be better than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this year. It's not a shot. It's not an insult. It's just a reality. So, as far as I'm concerned, this is not a complete rebuilding year for the Carolina Panthers. This is not a year where you have to scrap everything to move on. This is what I'm going to call a retooling year. All right? This is a retooling year. You've got the foundation laid. The foundation is there. The foundation is put together. It's pointed in the right direction. But you still need some additions. I think next year is the first year that, if you are a Panthers fan, next year is the first year that you can expect your team to really start putting the pieces together. So trading back may take a Penei Sewell off the board for you this year. It may take a J.C. Horn off the field for you this year. But what it does here is it opens up the fold for you to go out and add a fistful of picks this year and next year. And so while you may not get a Penei Sewell out of the deal, you will end up with a handful of guys, especially if you can get some second and thirds this year, that in many other years, this is a deep draft. In many other years would be late first, second round guys as second and third round guys this year, and allows you to see what the draft class is going to look like next year, right? This year, you are not a Super Bowl contender. You are going to be better. You are a wild card playoff spot contender. But let's be honest. We need to see what the Atlanta Falcons are going to do. They got rid of what I believe was the biggest problem for them in Dan Quinn. They've got a new head coach now. Their their owner, Arthur Blank, seems to have rebought in to doing the things that need to be done to make a championship team. I am in for it. Matt Ryan, not Ryan, understands that his window is closing now. His window is closing. He is out of opportunities to go out and prove it. That is what it is. But the Atlanta Falcons, I suspect, I'm not going to pick them because I've done that and gotten burned by them more times than a young kid around a hot stove. But we got to see what they're going to do. The New Orleans Saints, they lost Drew Brees, but we know that Jameis Winston's a guy who can put up 30 touchdowns in a year. Yes, he still got 30 picks that year. Yes, he's still got to answer that he can prevent the turnovers. But Jameis is a guy capable of 30 touchdowns a year. And if it's not him, Taysom Hill with Sean Payton running an offense tailored for him can make that very interesting Saints offense as well. I'm not saying they're going to be good. I don't know. But it'll be interesting. And then, of course, you got Tampa Bay. You're at best hunting for a wild card in a conference full of teams that are going to be hunting for a wild card next year, at best. So what is the difference between one player in Penei Sewell and adding 6 or 7 or 8 other players between later rounds this year and next year? And oh, by the way, if the Bears, for instance, are indeed looking at Trey Lance or going quarterback in that spot at number 10, which is why they jumped up there, right? If they do indeed jump up and they are hunting quarterback there, there's no reason that you might not be able to get another first-round pick out of the Bears next year. So, Zoe, I'll set up this trade scenario. You tell me if you like it or you hate it. The Chicago Bears would like to move up to number 8. They currently sit in the number 20 spot. They're hunting a QB, and Trey Lance is likely going to be the only guy on the board at that spot. They offer for you an 8 for 20 switch this year. They offer you their first rounder next year to go along with yours. They also offer you, let's say, for making next year's trade a first rounder, they offer you a 3rd and a 5th this year and a 4th and a 6th next year. You taking that haul?
Wow, that's a lot of picks. Absolutely, I'm taking that. Think of all the players you could get for that and shore up spots where you need help. Without a doubt, I'd do that. I'm trying to think. Is there a player that you think is worth all those picks, so you would stay at 8? Do you think Pitts is worth all those picks?
Not. I mean, I think the guy's got a ton of potential. I think the guy. There's a reason he's being considered the most talented non-quarterback draft pick in this draft. There's a reason. But here's the thing. Kyle Pitts isn't going to be available at 8. I guarantee you that right now. There's 2 or 3 guarantees I'm happy to make right now for you. I'm going to make the guarantee that Trevor Lawrence goes number 1 overall to the Jags. I will make you the guarantee that both Justin Fields and Zach Wilson will both be off the board by number 3. That's a guarantee. And I will guarantee you that Kyle Pitts is not making it to number 8. It's not going to happen. Because if he's still floating around by Cincinnati spot, they're going to take him. All right? So I know a lot of folks have said, hang on to the 8 and get Pitts, but here's the thing. There's a 0% chance to me that Kyle Pitts makes it 8. He's too talented. Somebody will trade up and get him if they get the opportunity. They're not making it to Kyle Pitts at 8. So if Kyle Pitts is off the board, Zoe, there's nobody else in the list of top 10 talent at that spot. There's nobody else on the list that I think is more valuable than adding another first rounder and a couple of mid-round picks over the next 2 years to build on. Well,
let's say you're wrong. Let's say that you're making a decision for the Panthers. It's coming up. You've got Chicago on the phone. Pitts is still there. Are you going Pitts or are you taking all the picks? I think I'll take all the picks.
Tough call. That's a much tougher call than it was a few minutes ago. I would lean right now for the sake of making an opinion. I would agree with you. I would take the picks because I don't think adding just one big, tall receiver is going to make your program 2 years from now. But I think adding 3, 4, 5 guys that can make a difference, makes your team overall better. And I lean in that direction. So I agree with you. I would go there. 844-GSP-ESPN, 844-477-3776. Text us at 71307, 71307. Start your text with ESPN so we can read them on the air. Tweet us at The Rob Brown Show, at Lonzo on Word, and at ESPN Upstate. And join us on the social media at Facebook.com/ESPN Upstate, Twitter.com/ESPN Upstate. Let's take a real quick break. When we come back here in just a minute, we'll take a look at the Masters. How is the course setting up? Some names to keep an eye on going into the tournament this weekend. And I will also tell you that coming up at 2:20 this afternoon, Chris Lewis is vice president of the Greenville Triumph. He's going to join us on the show. And we are going to break enormous news about the Triumph right here on the show. Triumph news that is going to bring the upstate to the forefront of the nation. And I'll tell you why. Coming up at 2:20 with Chris Lewis. I'm Rob Brown. He's Lonzo. The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. It's ESPN Upstate.
Harley.
Yep.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your phone everywhere on the radio.com app. Download the app and make ESPN Upstate a favorite for 24/7 real, unfiltered sports talk.
I cannot tell you how many times over the past few weeks I have heard, Rob, I hear you talking about riding the motorcycle. I hear you talking about how much you love it. I hear you talking about how great you think it is. I hear you talking about how it resets your entire mentality, and I'm jealous that I just can't afford to get on the back of a Harley Davidson right now. I am here to tell you that you are dead wrong. You absolutely can, and you have a great chance to do it right now by going to check out our friends at Harley Davidson of Greenville. They have got you all set up right now with brand new Harley Sportsters starting at $159 a month, Softails starting at $199 a month, and Street Guides and Road Glides. If you're like me, you like to jump on the back of a bigger bike and just relax, starting at $279 a month new. And if you're looking for something pre-owned, Upstate Harley, Greenville Harley, Harley Davidson of Greenville has the largest pre-owned inventory in the upstate today. They have got well over 180 pre-owned bikes in stock that you can jump on the back of today. I'm looking at a few of them right now, and there are some absolutely beautiful motorcycles, some that are almost brand new. I mean, barely been ridden. I'm looking right now at a 2020 Harley Davidson FLHXS Street Glide Special that has less than 6,500 miles on it, and it has been knocked down thousands from brand new. You are going to want to get in there and check them out right this very second. Check out their entire inventory online at upstateharley.com, upstateharley.com. They've got the inventory. They can get you pre-qualified for a new bike. They are looking to take care of you. Check them out online at upstateharley.com or visit their showroom at 30 Crum Drive in Greenville. It's our friends at upstateharley.com. Let's see. Kevin says, I listen from noon to 6 every day. Thank you, Kevin. That's awesome, man. Appreciate you getting your time in with both shows. That's fantastic. I really, really sincerely appreciate it. Daniel Doyle says, Lonzo looks nothing like you would imagine him by his voice. However, Rob looks 100% like his voice. So 14 years, let's see, I was working for, actually, this is 15 years. I spent 13 and a half, 14 years working in markets around the country. This is the first market where the majority of people have said that I look like what I sound like, and it impresses me. Everywhere else I've ever been, I've been told I didn't know what I expected, but you look nothing like what I expected you to look like. This is the first place that I've ever been told that I do look like what I sound like.
I wish I could participate, but, I saw you before I heard you, so that kind of negates all that.
True story.
Actually, you probably don't remember.
Wait.
You
didn't listen to any of my demo stuff before I started working here?
I did not.
Really?
During that, I was really busy. My bad. So the first time you were here trying out, I actually was late getting into the room, something that never happens because my clock on my computer was wrong. You don't remember this, but I do because I'm never late. So when I am late, I remember it. And this was over a year ago. And I absolutely remember coming in here late and thinking, okay, if this guy ends up working here, he probably thinks that I'm that slacker dude that comes in late all the time. Like, I need to care what you think, but that was going through my mind. And I remember that because, again, I'm never late.
That was my definitely my first impression. Alonzo was what a slacker.
And I'm sure that I bolstered that, for our time here and your time in the office, like the month or so that you were in there.
The whole time I've been here, I've been like, gosh, if only Lonzo would just work a little harder.
How has Lonzo beat the system and stayed here for 21 years? How has he stayed under the radar all that time without actually doing anything?
It's really impressive, to tell you the truth.
Well, there is a hippie requirement in the station and in the building, and because of that, I've been able to get by with things. You're required in radio to have at least one hippie on staff. So, I use that to my advantage.
It's worked out so far, buddy.
30 seconds. Speaking of hippies, they won't get this, but Tony cut his hair.
I know. Wait. Tony cut his hair?
Yeah, he even's got the fade on the side, and it's real short.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, Tony.
You won't recognize him.
Hey, Rob can read. So he says. Email Rob Brown at ESPNUpstate.com and we'll put him to the test. This is the Rob Brown Show. Local sports talk on ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show does indeed roll on. This is ESPN Upstate. Rob, Lonzo, you 844 GSP ESPN. We got a comment on the stream that says Lonzo looks nothing like you would imagine he does by his voice. However, Rob 100% looks like his voice. I got to tell you, Lonzo, and this happened again last night. I've started counting because it happens so often. So I cannot tell you how many times somebody has come up to me and asked me, hey, you look like Will Wheaton. I get that. I legitimately, I get that 3 times a month.
By the way, you're nowhere near as fat as Will Wheaton, so don't take that.
I am. Are you kidding me? Will Wheaton is like a regular sized dude.
No. Have you seen him lately? Unless he's lost some weight. He was big time chubby, especially in the face. Really? So don't take that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll take it. Me and Will Wheaton are bro fat guys. I love it. All right, 844 GSP ESPN, 844-477-3776. Still looking for your thoughts, your input on the Sam Darnold trade. The reaction that we seem to have gotten so far about the trade, Lonzo, is meh, right? Like, we've had a couple of folks who have checked in and said that they think the trade has been great. We've had a couple of folks that have checked in and said that they think it's underwhelming. I know Mark Ryan has mentioned that he is not in on the trade, that he does not like it. Zoe and I have both said that we are fans of the trade, but we've gotten a pretty, I think, Zoe, a pretty lukewarm response, which doesn't really shock me. There's not a whole heck of a lot about Sam Darnold that isn't based on optimism. It isn't based on hope. It isn't based on potential. I think there has been enough on-field performance. I think there's been enough on-field performance out of Sam Darnold to point at and say, yo, I think this kid has shown flashes that he can be very good. I think this kid has shown flashes that he'll be able to perform for Carolina. But I don't think the people who are feeling very mad about this trade are wrong. They just don't want to base their expectations on optimism and potential. And unfortunately, that's kind of all you get out of this trade, though.
Well, if you're stat guy and you're a guy that goes, well, the Jets didn't win while he was there. Well, I don't look at it that way because no one wins while they're with the Jets. So I don't think you can judge a player by that. Even if he is a quarterback and the leader of the team and all that, he had to deal with the coaching that he had to deal with. And I'm optimistic because I just am. I'm optimistic by, all right, listen, now you're showing a picture of, that's not a present day picture, by the way.
No, I know it's not.
Yeah. Okay. I just want to point that out.
Fair stuff. People have to join us on the stream at ESPN.
Okay. All right.
I want to know what we're talking about right now.
All right. I felt like I was being attacked by showing all these skinny pictures of Will Wheaton. And unless, although I do know a weight loss program that would work for him, the last I saw of him, he was chubby. So anyway, I think people are judging Sam Bradford by, not Sam Bradford, Sam Darnold.
That's the one.
Sam Darnold by the Jets record, and I don't think he can do that. I think a new place, new face, he's going to play well. Will he be stellar all world? Who knows? But I think he's going to be better than what some of the naysayers seem to think.
So the reaction has seemed to be relatively meh about the Sam Darnold trade. And I think that's my theory. My theory is if you are a Panthers fan, you really don't have a whole heck of a lot to base optimism on, except optimism itself, right? We have nothing to be optimistic about except optimism and potential, right? Again, we've seen the flashes. We know that Darnold can do it. We know that he does have it in him to get it done. But we've only seen flashes of it, and it's been rare. The good news is those flashes, you can circle the things that are going on that created the flashes for Sam Darnold. You can circle the moment that there have been changes in the offense. You can circle the moment that he finally got his entire offensive artillery in front of him. You can circle the moment where things went right for Sam Darnold, and then all of a sudden Sam Darnold's numbers showed up. That's great. That in and of itself is a cause for optimism. Panthers fans don't seem to be biting on it, but I'm excited about it. I'm excited for you about it. Quick break. My name's Rob Brown. Lonzo back at the helm. We are actually, you know what? Let's do this. I don't want to make anybody hold. Do we have time to get Jimmy in here before the break? Yeah, let's get Jimmy in here. Jimmy wants to talk a little bit about the trade. Jimmy, thanks for taking a minute. Great to have you on the show, bud.
Hey, guys. I like the trade. I mean, Sam Darnold had potential coming out of college to be a third-round pick. All they gave up was a second, fourth and sixth next year. So at worst, you're going to lose a good second-round pick from this year. The question is, what are they going to do with Teddy Bridgewater, and what are they going to do with their number 8 pick? Are they going to go for a wide receiver? Are they going to go for offensive line? That's what I'm wondering.
Well, we do know now, Jimmy, that they have already given Teddy Bridgewater permission to seek out a trade. So it looks like they're happy to let him go. They don't want to create a situation where Teddy Bridgewater doesn't have opportunity. It wouldn't be fair to him, and I respect that, honestly. Out of Carolina, they could very well tell Teddy, hey, man, you're the backup now. And Teddy, after playing backup for the last handful of years, doesn't want to do that again. So they're going to give him his opportunity to find a place to go be the starter and make some more money somewhere, and I respect that. Doesn't mean that he definitely will. Doesn't mean that he is for sure heading somewhere. He may very well stay right there in Carolina as the backup or as a role, as a guy to kind of ingratiate Sam Darnold. What do they do with the 8 pick? That's the $1 million question, man. There are a lot of folks. Rashad Beard from Panthers Nation podcast, who will join us tomorrow at 1:00, says that Penei Sewell, the offensive lineman from the left coast, is his dream scenario. I have said I want him to trade it back. Look for a dance partner who is trying to get Trey Lance. Trade back, pick up 4, 5, 6 more picks. You can replace the picks that you traded away for Sam Darnold over the next couple of years. And maybe even if a team like Chicago or New England or Denver is desperate enough, if Trey Lance is the only quarterback left on the board, they may very well give you a first-round pick from next year in order to get your first-round pick from this year. If there is a treasure chest waiting to trade back, I take the treasure chest and see what happens with it. If there are no dance partners, if nobody's willing to break the bank for number 8, then if Kyle Pitts is available, I take him. If not, I take Penei Sewell, the offensive lineman, and I build at a position of need, Jimmy.
Yeah, and it's like the offensive line guy that was at LSU. He's supposed to be the quarterback whisperer, so if Sam Darnold can stay healthy, I think it's a great trade.
Yeah, Joe Brady, I agree with you entirely. When Darnold's had, and Jimmy, thanks for the phone call, when Darnold's had a guy who has been able to teach him and show him the ropes, he's done okay. It's just the Adam Gase stuff that killed him, but I'm 100% there with you. Quick break, back after this. Rob, Lonzo, you, the Rob Brown Show's on your radio. This is ESPN Upstate.
You could have
All right, let's see. Here's all the Will Wheaton pictures. And I don't see, and I literally Googled Will Wheaton fat, and I don't see, I think this is as close to him being fat. No, is that even Will Wheaton? I can't tell. Anyway, yes, I know I look like Will Wheaton. I have literally heard it every day of my entire life forever.
By the way, I stand corrected. It happens on occasion. I just looked up Will Wheaton being vaccinated, and it looks like he lost quite a bit of weight. So good for him. I don't know if, isolation was part of it or maybe he found a good program, but it's good to see that he's lost the pounds he needed to lose. He still looks fatter than Rob, though.
He absolutely does not. But I appreciate that. Your incorrectness.
Beard is scruffy, not nearly as tight as Rob's either. The vaccination picture looks like he may have shaved. I don't know. By the way, I love Steven's question on the stream. I don't know if Rob wants to address that or not, but I think that is a great question.
Hang on, I'm coming back to it. I was actually doing a work thing, which I have to do every now and then.
1 minute.
How is the Man Show the most interactive when you guys are on all these platforms?
I think it's a great question. Perhaps you need to ask the Man Show about that. Sure, that question will be avoided just like the airsoft. Coming back.
Opinions wanted.
Well, opinions are like, everybody has one.
Call 844-GSP-ESPN. Local sports talk on The Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. This is ESPN Upstate, 97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM Spartanburg, and all around the world on the Odyssey app. Odyssey is your new home for all the audio that matters to you. Download the Odyssey app today and listen to ESPN Upstate around the clock. Radio.com is now Odyssey, AUDACY. Download that app and listen to ESPN Upstate and all of your favorite music, news, sports, and podcast at your fingertips on demand. It is the Odyssey app, AUDACY, Odyssey. Make sure you pick up that app and join in. Let's talk a little bit about the Masters as we are set for the most anticipated, the golf tournament, and at least the last couple of years, ladies and gentlemen. Keep in mind, we did play at Augusta just a few months ago. What was it? It was something like 80 days. That was it. 90 days between the last Masters and the fall of last year and the Masters this year back in its normal April time slot. Pretty amped up about this with the azaleas and the magnolias back in bloom. Augusta is going to be absolutely beautiful, and I'm very much looking forward to what this tournament is going to bring to us. We had Savannah Lee from the Brunswick News on yesterday. We broke it down a little bit. She'll be rejoining us on Friday to get further back into that conversation about what we are expecting to see. Really intrigued by a handful of names in this tournament. I think there are a handful of names that have a real opportunity here. I'm keeping an eye primarily on Bryson DeChambeau. Bryson DeChambeau has become an off of the course spectacle over the past couple of days there at Augusta. The video came up of him out on the driving range, absolutely slamming the rock, absolutely slamming the golf ball, and just throwing every bit of muscle he's got into just breaking the golf ball. And there have been a lot of folks who have been coming out at this dude. Oh, that's not what golf's about. Well, Bryson DeChambeau has clarified that just a little bit. Bryson DeChambeau has said that is actually a training method that he has jumped into and that he has utilized. He said that training method is one where he said, and I kind of laughed when I read it, but basically what he does is he tees it up high, he lets it fly, he puts everything he's got into swings, and he just keeps going until he is about to literally pass out. And they said, why? Why do you do that? Why is that your strategy? He said, I want to get to a point where I can put as much butt into the golf ball as I can put into the golf ball consistently and know that I'm not at threat of it wearing me out when I get out there and it's time to start going long. That is that's the method he's decided to take. And look, I really don't hate it, right? If you're a guy like Bryson DeChambeau, his money making is by not having to play his long irons. His money making is even on par fives, poking it out there to where he's playing mid and short irons on his second and approach shots. And I love the style. And at a place like Augusta, where there is some length. There is some length at Augusta that you have to worry about, but it's a control game. It's a control game at Augusta. And that's why a guy like Bryson is so really interesting in this setup. If you look at Bryson DeChambeau, a guy that is known for his power, the longest driver on the tour, a guy that's poking it out there 323, 324 every time he puts the big stick down on the grass. There are a couple of long fours and fives at Augusta that are going to play into his hands, but Augusta demands a chess game out of you. Augusta demands that you play chess with a course. That is to say, even if poking it out there 325 is within your range, it's not always the best play, because at 324, 325, your second shot may be more difficult than if you leave the first one out there at, say, 305. The setup shot for two might be a little easier, even if it does increase the length between you and the green for that next round, for that next shot. So Bryson DeChambeau's hookup there is not necessarily great for some of the long-range holes at Augusta National. I really like guys that are playing well with their iron. We mentioned Jordan Spieth yesterday. Jordan Spieth won the Valero last week and looked damn good doing it. And the iron play was way, way up there. Colin Morikawa, a name that I am very intrigued by in these Masters, the San Francisco kid. Colin Morikawa right now is either first or second on the tour in iron striking proficiency. You had better bring your iron games, specifically your mid irons, to the course with you and have the efficiency level up towards the top of the rankings if you want a chance to win this weekend. So there's a couple of names that I am absolutely keeping an eye on this week when we get to the Masters. Rory McIlroy is another one. We talked about him with Savannah yesterday. This guy spent the first part of the year getting away from kind of that fun, energetic Rory that we are used to. And he has played almost angry golf. He's been angry at himself. He's been angry at his swing. He's been angry at his swing coach. He's been angry at a handful of targets. He needs a Masters to complete the career Grand Slam, but he hasn't won a major since 2014, and there is nothing that makes him less of an iffy proposition this year. But we know that he has seemed to calm down just a little bit. He has seemed to settle down just a little bit, and you have to do that if you want a chance at a dub and putting on that green jacket. Will it have been enough? Will this tone down Rory from the last year or two give him an opportunity to pick up his first Masters win? There is no guarantee. That's why we love Augusta. I could throw out 10 names at you and still not hit any of the top 3 or 4 in contention coming up on Sunday. That's why this tournament's so great. Kicks off tomorrow at Augusta National Golf Course. get our first round in and underway. Savannah Lee will rejoin us on Friday. By that point, we will have had a day and a half to get a look and see how the course is playing. We'll have live coverage all over the place on a handful of different platforms to follow along with. Very much looking forward to the next 4 days of golf. Quick break back after this to wrap up hour number 2. I'm Rob. He's Lonzo. Rob Brown Show's on your radio. It's ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your Amazon or Google smart speaker. Just
You know, Ryan, I haven't even thought about that. I do have here's the thing I keep on my phone. So every now and then when the band plays, I'll hook my phone up and we play music off of it. And here's what I have on my phone. I keep the club party horn on my phone. I should start using that to honk back at the geese. You're not wrong. That's hilarious. Great idea. Great idea. And thanks to everybody who watches these in the stream. Thanks to everybody who watches along after the videos are over as well. We really appreciate it.
30 seconds.
10-4. Oh.
Text us anytime at 71307. Use keyword ESPN followed by your comment. Local sports talk on the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
Top of the fifth inning, Atlanta on top of the Nationals 6-5 so far. Not getting my hopes up because the Braves have been up on both Philly and DC yesterday and managed to lose those games, but it is a good start so far. Ronald Acuna Jr., 3 for 3. He's got a dinger on the game. Ozzie Albies has got an RBI as well. Freddie Freeman has taken a couple of walks so far, but it is a slugfest up in DC right now. Braves are on top of the Nationals 6-5. They are 0-4. The Nationals 1-0 as they played their opening day against Atlanta yesterday. Remember, they had the COVID postponement. We'll keep you up to date on that. A few texts that have come in over the last hour at ESPN. Have y'all talked about Tiger yet? No, we have not. We were just about to get to that coming up in a minute. But what we know so far, TMZ is reporting that Tiger Woods' accident was caused by excessive speed. TMZ is still reporting that there are a lot of questions, but the crash is blamed on speed at 10:48 TMZ, or excuse me, let me go back to the beginning of the morning as a press conference was held. The initial article from TMZ says that Tiger Woods' car crash was caused by excessive speed, but there may be more to the story that does not come out. The LA County Sheriff's Department will release the findings of their investigation tomorrow morning. TMZ says that sources with direct knowledge said Tiger was speeding when he lost control of his SUV, and that the Sheriff's Department is hanging the cause of the accident squarely on speed. The SUV's black box reportedly, again, according to TMZ, shows actual acceleration at the time of the crash. We're also told that just as Tiger lost control, the SUV suddenly gained rapid speed. So there is a question about whether Tiger meant to push the brake and accidentally hit the accelerator on instead. Law enforcement sources are saying that the sheriff's department did not get a warrant to check Tiger's cell phone to determine if he was on a call or texting at the time of the accident. TMZ says their sources say the department felt it did not have probable cause to get a warrant for cell phone records, although that is frequently done in accident investigations. Sources say Tiger hit his head 3 to 4 times on something inside the cabin during the course of the accident, and that no charges will be filed against Tiger. Law enforcement officials told TMZ that Tiger was driving 83 miles an hour in a 45 zone at the time of the crash, and say that speed was the only cause of the crash. They said that Tiger did waive his right of privacy and authorized the release of the accident report. LA County Sheriff's Office Sheriff Alex Villanueva did have a press conference earlier this morning. They said that the accident began when Tiger was doing 83, was doing 75 when he smashed into a tree at the time of his accident. They say the official cause of the crash was speed and inability to navigate a curvy road. We'll give you more details about that coming up in the next hour of the show. But before we do, your keyword for this upcoming hour is crazy. C-R-A-Z-Y, crazy. Text that word to 72881 for your chance to win a grand in the $1,000 cash dash on ESPN Upstate, powered by BetQL. Let their proven data and analytics help you become a better by downloading the BetQL app today. Again, the keyword is crazy, C-R-A-Z-Y. Text that word to 72881 for your chance to win $1,000 in the $1,000 cash dash on ESPN Upstate. More details about the Tiger accident. We'll talk to Chris Lewis of the Greenville Triumph about a huge announcement coming up in the next hour, and so much more. The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. This is ESPN Upstate.
ESPN Upstate, WYR.
All right, let's see what else.
You have a golf card in the next break.
All righty. Hit the ball, Atlanta. Every time my air conditioner comes on, it sounds like my house is about to achieve takeoff. The loudest air conditioner I've ever had in my life.
Better bet download the BetQL app today.
Well, hopefully when you achieve orbit, you will still be online so we can watch it happen.
Rob Brown Lockdown.
represents being real.
Yeah. Real, unfiltered sports talk manufactured locally for the Carolinas.
Lockdown!
This is the Rob Brown Show.
Yeah.
Only on ESPN.
ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. This is ESPN Upstate. Rob and Lonzo with you. If you missed it going out of the last hour, the LA County Sheriff's Department has gotten the right, had the right to privacy waived by Tiger Woods, so they have released the cause of the accident. They are saying that law enforcement officials telling TMZ that Tiger was driving 83 miles an hour in a 45 zone at the time of the crash, failed to navigate a turn. The theory is that Tiger went to hit the brake, missed, hit the accelerator instead. Once the car went off the road, the black box says that it decreased speed from 83 miles an hour to 75 miles an hour at the time that it impacted a tree off the side of the road, causing the accident. TMZ said that they asked why Tiger Woods was not cited for speeding, and that a captain with the LA County Sheriff's Office, Captain Jim Powers, said that no police officer personally witnessed the speeding, and therefore it likely would have been thrown out in court. So they decided it wasn't worth the effort to press a charge there. Powers also said that there was no evidence that Tiger tried to brake before the collision, but investigators believe that Tiger inadvertently stepped on the gas instead of the brake when he realized he was losing control based on information taken from the vehicle's data recorder. Powers said, quote, "When you panic, your initial thought is hit the brake. It is believed he may have done that, but hit the accelerator instead of the brake." Officials note Woods showed no signs of impairment and no evidence of prescription medication, illegal drugs, or alcohol was found at the crash scene. Tiger also told investigators he did not drink or take meds before getting behind the wheel. Officials said that there was also no evidence that Tiger was a distracted driver. Specifically, they do not believe he was texting on his cell phone during the crash. Therefore, they did not have probable cause to issue a warrant for Tiger's cell phone or cell phone records. Officials say Tiger told investigators he has no recollection of the collision. So, quote, he's not even aware of the speed until it was presented in the case. TMZ said they asked Captain Powers why Woods would not be guilty of reckless driving. And he said that another act like dangerously switching lanes needs to happen in order for reckless driving to be on the table. The statute for reckless driving in California reads, quote, "A person who drives a vehicle upon a highway in willful or wanton disregard for the safety of persons or property is guilty of reckless driving." TMZ says, quote, "You'd think Woods traveling 40 miles an hour over the speed limit would almost certainly constitute a disregard for safety," end quote. So we get a little backstory here about the Tiger Woods story, Zoe. And if you trust the official record from the LA County Sheriff's Department, they say they did not have any evidence that Tiger was a distracted driver. They say they did not have any evidence of any sort of impairment, drugs or alcohol there at the scene, nor did Tiger seem to have any impairment after they found him at the accident scene. So they are declining to press any charges, nor did they issue a search warrant for his cell phone or anywhere else to find out, nor his blood or his blood sample at the scene of the accident. So it looks like this story has effectively come to its conclusion. Tiger was speeding, lost control of the vehicle. Investigators say they believe that he went to mash the brake, but instead missed, hit the gas pedal, accelerated through the turn that he was already not successfully navigating through, went off the side of the road, decreased speed right before he hit a tree at 75 miles an hour. That caused the majority of the collision, rolled the car over. And because of the fact that he likely hit his head 3 or 4 times during that accident, lost memory of what happened. So they're only operating under the circumstances that they can prove. So it looks like, Zoe, this story has reached its conclusion. And according to the LA County Sheriff's Office, Tiger Woods is just a guy who was involved in a car accident.
Yeah, a couple of things there as a normal citizen bothers me a little bit. And it seems like there's some preferential treatment. If that's not reckless driving, I don't know, what reckless driving is, going that far over the speed limit in the where he was. Wasn't he like on a hill or in the mountains or something like that?
So basically what amounts to a foothill. And from what I understand, having talked to some law enforcement officials, that area is actually really well known for being a place where there are a lot of accidents. Now, I suspect that the majority of them didn't take place from a guy who was doing 35 miles an hour over the speed limit, but it is
probably
known
not
for accidents.
Yeah. And the other thing is them deciding not to check and see if he was on a cell phone. That just, a normal citizen probably wouldn't have received that benefit. That's all I'm saying. I think he suffered enough for sure with the end of the accident and all the injuries. But at the same time, you got to look at it and think, if that was me or you, they would be looking into everything.
Yeah, it was interesting. And there were a lot of questions about Tiger not having blood drawn at the scene to check for drugs or alcohol. TMZ has pointed out that they did not check phone records either. And you're not alone in that thought. Sean writes in and says, breaking news. It also appears that Tiger Woods is, in fact, very, very rich. And P1 Keegan writes in and says, lost memory money is big money. You can't hide rich. So there's no shortage of folks here, though, that believe that Tiger Woods may have been in trouble for something, but got off the hook because he is, Tiger Woods and, excessively wealthy.
And it isn't like he has a history of impaired driving, because if he did, that would make the police automatically want to check into this. But since his record's been clean and he's never, ever had a problem like, being asleep at a red light or something like that, there would be no cause to check into something like that.
Yeah. So not a great look for Tiger, even though he is off the hook. According to the LA County Sheriff's Office, there will be no charges filed. They are labeling it just simply an accident. The court of public opinion here is that Tiger is off the hook solely because Tiger is loaded in the financial department, shall we say. So that is where that story will come to its conclusion. I will ask the question, does this change your opinion of Tiger Woods? This is kind of an interesting case study because you'll remember just a handful of years ago, Tiger Woods was very much being looked at by the court of public opinion very negatively after the issues with his ex-wife, after the issues with the sex addiction that cost him his marriage and how much money. Tiger Woods, and obviously after the issues with drug and alcohol addiction, Tiger Woods seemed to have, if you'll pardon the terrible pun, changed his stripes. He seemed to have kind of gotten it all together and come back from that. In fact, I would argue, though, that Tiger Woods probably benefited from one of the most impressive changes in public view of any athlete who had created a problem for himself in recent years, honestly. I mean, Tiger Woods, the issues Tiger had, yes, he put some people in jeopardy by his actions, but he seemed genuinely remorseful. I think that he seemed genuinely sorry. He seemed genuinely trying to change himself for the better. He had revamped his public image and kind of gotten back to that golden boy image, if you will, that he had early in his career. And now you got to wonder if the fact that the LA County Sheriff's Office has basically said, yeah, there's a lot wrong here, but we're not going to charge him. And we totally believe him when he says he doesn't remember anything. We talked about this with the Deshaun Watson case earlier. Sometimes the most important court isn't the one that can put you in jail. It's the one that can cost you a lot in the court of public opinion. You got to wonder, though, if the court of public opinion isn't going to sway a little bit around from a guy who did a phenomenal job in revamping that public opinion over the past few years.
The people who loved Tiger before all the things happened had to go into hiding and act like they didn't love Tiger anymore, even though they actually did. And then it seems he appears to have cleaned his act up. Now they can come back into the limelight and say that they love Tiger, but the people who don't just have more reason to not like him. Him getting, but you can't say he got away with something. Luckily, nobody else was injured, but he's going to pay for whether it was distracted driving, whether it was speeding, traveling too fast in conditions, whatever it was. He's going to be paying for that for a while.
Yeah, he may have paid for it with his career. I mean, we haven't really talked in depth about it, but multiple compound fractures, head injuries. I mean, you're looking at I would assume at least some level of concussion. It's far from a guarantee that we ever see Tiger play golf again. Remember, after this accident happened, the day that it happened, we came on the air and talked about the fact that, for me anyway, I was less concerned about will we ever see Tiger compete in a tournament at a high level again, and more concerned with will Tiger ever be able to, play a normal round of golf with his kid? Will he ever be able to take Charlie out there on the golf course and try to impart his knowledge into him and set him up to be a child prodigy himself? And the answer is no idea. We have no idea. We have no idea if Tiger will ever be able to have just a regular, normal life without intense pain and suffering for the rest of his life. So I'm intrigued to see what people's opinions of Tiger Woods might be moving forward. Let's do this. Let's go ahead and run to a break. When we come back here in just a minute from right now, Chris Lewis is the president of the Greenville Triumph. He is going to join us here on the air because we have got big news breaking for the Greenville Triumph, and I am very excited about it. News that is going to put the Upstate right square in front of the eyes of the nation. I'll tell you about that alongside Chris Lewis when we come back here in just a minute on the Rob Brown Show. Rob Lonzo and you. This is ESPN Upstate.
Golf card.
Yep.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your computer and tablet at ESPNUpstate.com.
The best deal for golfers in the Upstate is back. If you've been going stir crazy, if you've been having a little cabin fever, if some fresh air and perfect Upstate spring weather is just the ticket for you, well, you're in luck. The Upstate Golf Card is back on sale now. Spring is in the air. Your drive ought to be as well. 9 premier Upstate golf courses are on the 2021 Upstate Golf Card for just $99. Over $450 worth of golf for just $99. That's over a 75% discount. For just $99, you can purchase the golf card and get a round of golf at the Preserve at Verde, Pebble Creek, Legacy Pines, the Rock Golf Club and Resort, Carolina Springs, Willow Creek, the Links of Tryon, Rolling Green Golf Club, and new on the card this year, the club at Brookstone. That is over $450 in golf. You're getting it for $99. That's less than $1 a hole at some of the most prestigious courses in the area, ladies and gentlemen. You can buy yours today. They are on sale now. Supplies are limited, and when they are gone, they are gone. Go to upstategolfcard.com, upstategolfcard.com. Check them out online at upstategolfcard.com or like them on Facebook and Instagram under that same handle. It's a great way to get out on the course with your friends and family all spring and summer long. Courses are open. Spring weather's in the air. A golf ball should be too. Limited supply. Get yours now. The Upstate Golf Card at upstategolfcard.com. Automotive map. And there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Look at Keegan. Look at Keegan showing some dedication to the club. I respect it. I just got the paycheck from the side hustle, ladies and gentlemen. Little extra cheddar in the pocket. And I am going to be heading this weekend down to the Triumph pop-up store because they have just released the new tartan kit, and it's absolutely beautiful. Actually, what the heck? I'm going to show you.
What's a tartan kit?
So a tartan is the pattern that is used on like kilts, like so. Drew McIntyre wears a kilt with pattern on it.
Yeah,
and tartans in Scotland and Ireland were used to identify your clan. So every clan would have its own unique tartan that so when you wore your clothing with that tartan on it, people would be able to identify what clan you belong to. And so the Triumph have designed a tartan to represent them that will go on to the kit, the primary kit that they'll be one of the primary kits that they will be wearing this year. I'm actually going to show it to you because I want your thoughts on it, Zoe. Here is their webpage. This is the tartan they've gone with, and that is that's the jersey that one of the kits they'll be wearing this year. And I kind of love it.
That's cool. I can see you wearing that.
Yeah. I love that tartan kit. I think it's beautiful. They have also introduced their primary kit this year, which is going to be the checker style kit. It's got the background checkers on the back of it. There's a full picture of the kit they'll be wearing. Big fan. So those are the two primaries they'll be wearing this year. But that tartan kit is sick nasty. Or plaid striped jersey in American. It's called a tartan. Keegan, have some culture, man. In American. It was America. We speak American.
By the way, I completely understood after Keegan spelled it out in my native language.
Your native language is American?
Daggum right. Chris was standing by.
Outstanding.
Someone asked earlier, and we never got to it, about Ozzy Osbourne being inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. I'm okay with it. I mean, Shatner, I completely understand. Ozzy was kind of a while back, but Shatner stayed fairly present, especially in the presentation when they showed him doing the theme songs again. I love that. Him doing Rey Mysterio it's just great.
That video package for Kane gave me goosebumps, dude.
Oh yeah, it was really cool.
Oh, it was good. I may very well pull that up on YouTube. We may very well watch that video package on the stream in a little while. That was good.
And his
song for them to use too.
Yeah. As soon as
never thought about that.
As soon as I heard the beginning bars of the song, I'm like, oh man, they did. Oh, that's perfect.
So good.
30 seconds.
Join the Rob Brown Lockdown on Twitter. Tweet at The Rob Brown Show on the Upstate Sports Leader, ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. This is ESPN Upstate. Rob and Lonzo here with you. 97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM Spartanburg, all around the world on the Odyssey app, AUDACY. Put that app on all your digital devices and don't miss a minute of broadcasting from ESPN Upstate. To the phone lines we go. And we welcome in a friend of mine off the air, a friend of the show, on it, the club president for your USL League One reigning, defending, undisputed champs, the Greenville Triumph. My buddy Chris Lewis joins us here on the show. Chris, what up, fella? How we doing, big dog?
I am very good. How are you doing, my friend?
Just another day in paradise, buddy. The weather is absolutely beautiful. We are one more day ticked off the calendar, closer to the 24th when we get the Triumph season started and underway. Hoping to be back in Legacy early for more normalized games this year. And on top of that, Chris, you guys, massive news breaking out of the Triumph that we are happy to help break right here on the Rob Brown Show. Dude, an ESPN2 nationally televised Cup game coming up for you guys. That's enormous.
Yes, indeed. It was really cool to see it actually come out. And I did make it back to Greenville, so I was able to actually look at things on my computer I got back to Greenville about 10 minutes ago, so I was able to look it up and see the release and to see it come to fruition, because there's been a lot of talk about it amongst, our board of governors and the leagues and on our president's meetings. It's just, I think it speaks volumes that the first ever League One match is going to be coming to the nation live on ESPN2. It's just, I think it's a testament to the upstate, certainly to our fan base and the soccer following in Greenville. And if, I don't throw my shoulder out patting ourselves on the back a little bit, I think to what the Irwins and the club have done in a very short time with regard to establishing this club as an entity that does things the right way. And there were a lot of talks back and forth with the league. And I think the league wanted certainly to see Greenville in the spotlight and put forth the league's best foot in terms of atmosphere and what we can do. And, certainly our partners in the league all do fine jobs, but I think having this match as the first ever ESPN2 national telecast for USL League One is certainly a great step and speaks volumes to our area.
Oh, it's huge. USL League One's first ever match on national television as part of an expanded USL linear television schedule, features numerous USL matches on ESPN, ESPN2, and Deportes in 2021. Sunday, May 16th, will feature the Greenville Triumph hosting Union Omaha. This is a rematch of, Chris, what should have been the USL League One championship match last year. Unfortunately, didn't get to actually play the match because of a number of COVID cases in Union Omaha. And what I love the most about this is not just are you getting the two top programs in USL League One, but I got to tell you, I can't imagine for the players on the Triumph team that are hoisting the trophy, for the Union Omaha team that wanted to come down and play that but could not last year, I can't imagine this isn't going to be a hell of a soccer game, Chris Lewis.
No, this is the equivalent of that other football league, 3 letters, I think it is. When they, the way that they pump things up, this is the USL League One equivalent of that. I'm sure anyone who's in the Greenville Triumph following, certainly the Union Omaha following, has seen the quote friendly banter back and forth amongst the fan bases, little exchanges amongst the club social media channels themselves. And it is going to be intense. This is going to be one of those, I'm sure all the players and coaches circled this match on their calendars. I'm sure all the fans, when the schedule came out, circled this one. And now to add to the mix that this is going to be on ESPN2, the upstate and Greenville in particular is going to be on ESPN2. And our club and our fan base has a chance to show the nation what Greenville and the upstate's all about. Is really cool. And it's I think it'll definitely be one of the coolest experiences of my career being a part of this.
Chris Lewis, president of the Greenville Triumph, joining us here on the Rob Brown Show at ESPN Upstate with some breaking news. The Triumph will be playing on ESPN2 a national telecast of what should have been last year's USL League One championship match. Did not get played. The Greenville Triumph were on top of the table wire to wire last year and were ultimately awarded the League One championship trophy. And they get an opportunity to kind of defend that against the team that they should have played last year. But I think this is not just a testament to, and you've mentioned it, Chris, not just a testament to the fact that the trophy currently resides in the upstate, and not just a testament to the fact that the Triumph were the cream of the crop last year, but even if all those things were true, I don't think a national telecast is coming to the upstate if they don't know that there is a very attractive atmosphere and environment around that club and around that trophy to put on TV to make it look good, whether it's from ESPN or from the USL. They know that this area has put together an incredible soccer environment. And at least to me, Chris, not to take any of the shine off of you, I certainly didn't want to disrupt the self-back pats that you guys have certainly earned. But that means that those big companies that are putting this cast on, they know that the upstate soccer environment is one that's going to look and play real good on TV, I would suspect.
No, that's absolutely true, Rob. And I jest about the patting on the back. I mean, we have a lot of work to do and a lot more to still accomplish with this club. But to your point, the senior level folks at the league have been saying for a while now that ESPN had their eye on doing a match like this on national linear television. I think given the fact that there was a match that unfortunately was unable to be played last year to determine, and put the star over our crest on the field, even though, we all believe firmly and wholeheartedly that we earned the star over our crest on the field by being the wire-to-wire leaders of the league all last year. This is something that shows how the league as a whole, not just Greenville and the Upstate and the Triumph, but how the league as a whole is really evolving and developing, and the work that's gone in by all of the owners, by all of the staff in this league. Certainly the product that the coaches and players put out onto the pitch every week that USL League One matches are played. It all comes together to create something that the folks at ESPN kind of raised their eyebrows a little bit and said, maybe we're onto something here. And maybe we should get distribution of this league out a bit more so that as we continue to grow and build this game in this country, it shows that it's not just the MLS level or the U.S. national teams levels and those kinds of things, but it's also how the game is developing at the lower pro divisions within this country and how it can fortify and get stronger. And this is a big step in that direction. And the league called me, I guess, about a month or so ago to let me know that this was likely going to happen, and that ESPN was very, very much looking forward to this particular match being a match that they put on linear national television for the first time at our level. So I agree with you, Rob. I think it speaks volumes not only about the area and the atmosphere and things Greenville-centric, but it also speaks volumes about how this league, of which we are a member, is continuing to evolve and grow, and how the game is growing.
Chris Lewis joining us here on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate. What does this mean for you guys as a club? I mean, obviously, we talked about what it meant for you as a club last year when the trophy got hoisted. We talked about what it meant for you guys as a club a couple of weeks ago when you guys got to go scrimmage DC United, an MLS team, in the offseason to really test yourselves against top American tier talent. And now we add just another bit of bragging rights in being one of the first two clubs to be featured on national linear television. We talk about branding. In fact, Doug and I, a couple of weeks ago, were watching an Everton match together, and we're talking about brand building and how important it is, both in my side of the business and on yours. When you get this type of exposure, we can talk about what it does for you nationally. But I got to imagine when you talk to folks who are kind of, I'll go to a game here and there. When they hear, hey, your hometown club is not just getting on TV, but they're getting on nationally broadcasted TV and are the first club to do it. I can't imagine this isn't a huge opportunity for you guys to continue to grow within our community and maybe add some national fans to the mix.
Oh, it absolutely is. And there are so many things that are on the horizon for this club and things that we're having, we're further along in discussions now. As everyone in the upstate certainly knows, Joe Irwin is a visionary. We live through his vision every day that we're here. It's part, the mission of this club is to bring joy to the upstate and create unity through this game, and for us to provide that platform. And we want to do it at the best way we know how. And this is something that just continues to build on the story that's being written as we go for Greenville Triumph and what it is and what it will be for this community, not only this season, but for seasons to come. And, the talks continue with regard to what I deem our forever home. There are a couple other ventures that we're looking into now and some announcements that'll likely be coming, come summertime with regard to how we're going to be looking to expand and grow the game a bit here. And all of those things go into the mix. And this is certainly something that, it just adds a layer of, wow, this is legitimate. This is something that is really special for our upstate community. And I think we've seen it in the corporate support that we've gotten. We're doing real well with ticket sales right now and season ticket sales. Olivia and Patrick, if upstate you haven't called them yet to get tickets, definitely give them a call. They are working their tails off. And that's, the whole staff. The front office staff is, I'll put up against any staff in sports. They work their tails off. And what John and his staff and the players do, on the field speaks for itself with the success that we've had and the commitment that they put in. So this is another step in building this club, in writing its story, and to, the conversation you and Doug had with regard to what goes into the brand mix for what Greenville Triumph SC is.
Chris Lewis, club president, Greenville Triumph, joining us here on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate. Breaking news that the Triumph will be featured on ESPN2 in a nationally televised game against Union Omaha. Very much looking forward to that matchup. And you talked about the office and all the folks. I've gotten the pleasure and privilege to meet just about everybody that works over there. I was talking with Marion Cole, who's become one of my favorite people, alongside you and Doug and Joe and everybody over there, about, and I said on Twitter a couple of days ago that, I've been talking for months, Chris, and you and I have had this conversation about the fact, the thing that I love most about the local sports crowd here in the area isn't just that the teams are very good, which, don't get me wrong, helps immensely, but that every one of the teams in the area really is committed to having an outstanding relationship with the community. But you don't have any relationship without people, and y'all's front office, from ticket sales to game day experience to Doug over and branding to your interactions with the community and the supporters groups and all that. That's what makes that go. That's what makes that relationship strong. And that's what puts you guys on the map to earn the opportunity to be on ESPN, the Deuce, as the first USL League One club to accomplish that. And I think that you guys deserve a hefty round of applause for all of that work, Chris. And I hope that y'all feel, as I do, that this is just the first of many payments that will be coming back for all of that work that you guys have been putting in for this community.
Well, thank you for the kind words. And like I said, there is a great team of people, both who reside in our Main Street headquarters in downtown Greenville, as well as our training facility over at Bob Jones, who make this happen. And it all starts, obviously, with Joe and Gretchen Irwin and Billy Webster and Shannon Wilbank, our ownership group, who gave us the vision and gave us all the opportunity to do something we love. And that's the thing with this group. We a lot of folks see me, particularly on social media, refer to us as soccer family. And that's what we are. And that's the way that we look at it. Everyone works for everyone else, just like the players on the field, have each other's backs and are working for it. The front office is the same way. And the community is important to us, and our interactions are important to us, and our season ticket members and our supporters and our corporate partners, our media relationships, our community relationships, they're all super important. They're all part of what goes into the mix. I mean, overall, a lot of times we welcome players and we say, welcome to our soccer family, our partners, because everyone's included in that. And, we do it together. Together we triumph is a motto that we live by. It's not just a hashtag. And that's how we get things like this. That's how we earn things like this is by doing things together, being collaborative, and doing good. And Joe said it to me, probably within the first week that I was working for him. He said, Chris, the better we do, the more we can do. And that's what we try and focus on. And that's what we try and deliver for the community. And we're happy and grateful that, some of it's paying off now, and opportunities for our upstate community and our club are happening, like the one that's going to occur on May 16th.
Chris, one more question for you before we cut you loose. Keegan, who is one of our P1s and a guy that has come to many matches with me over there at Legacy Early College. He just wrote in and said, I have engagement pictures that day. Should I just call off the whole wedding? I'll let you answer, Keegan.
Wow, that's a lot of pressure. Keegan, my man, can you get them scheduled for the AM part of the day? I guess that would be my advice with regard to scheduling. That said, the fiance ideally is forever. This is a match that you'll be able to watch, although it may be on DVR. So do make the long-term right decision, my man.
See, my thought was, Chris, why don't we just do the engagement shoot at the stadium during the game? There's plenty of space.
Well, hey.
There's just plenty of space there.
You've seen some of the work that folks like Blake Schultz have done. So,
Yes.
My man can make, if he can make this mug look, presentable for the media and social media and things, then he can work miracles. So that's not a bad idea, Rob. And see, that's why you get paid the big bucks. And that's why I'm just glad you took me under your wing, because you're brilliant.
Well, of course. I mean, look, you signed an extension. It was because of me. You're on ESPN, or Hark signed an extension. It was because of me. You said that on the air. I have it recorded. I'm going to go ahead and take credit for you guys being on the Deuce, too. Why not? I mean, I might as well make myself valuable for something.
That's right. Add that to the T-shirt that you're going to make.
Yes, exactly right. Chris Lewis is the president of the Greenville Triumph. Hey, Chris, look, I know we've been trying to hook up for a beer. I'm just saying a mint julep and a pimento sandwich this weekend while we watch the Masters doesn't sound like a bad idea either, partner.
That's not a bad idea at all. See, I told you, you're brilliant.
That's, if more than you and my mother felt that way, I might accomplish something in my life. Chris Lewis, president of the Greenville Triumph, joining us here. May 16th is a Sunday. They will be taking on Union Omaha, the top two teams in the USL League One last year. That will be the national debut for both the Triumph and USL League One. It'll be on ESPN2, but of course it'll be happening right there at Legacy Early College. And Chris, as much as I would love to say that I watched the first ever USL League broadcast on ESPN2, you know good and gosh darn well I would much rather be in the stadium. So I will see you at Legacy Early that weekend, partner.
We wouldn't have it any other way, my man. Thank you again for your support. You've been fantastic from the day that you got here. And don't mistake, you've been a part of helping make this happen too, because of the megaphone that you give us. So thank you to you and the station. And thanks to the Greenville community. You guys helped us get this done. Now it's getting it done and delivering and building on what comes next. So we've already been at work, and we're going to continue to put our heads down and grind to create success and to create the experience everybody deserves here.
Chris Lewis, we will see you at Legacy Early in a few weeks, brother. Appreciate you.
Sounds good, my man. Thank you.
You know it. Chris Lewis, president of the Greenville Triumph, joining us here on the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate. Quick break. We're back after this on ESPN Upstate.
You're just minutes away from a
Well, that's freaking enormous news. Kind of love that. Little national love for the champions.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's absolutely cool. Now, the question is, will Rob be seen on TV there watching the game? What are you going to wear that will make you stand out while you're in the crowd watching the Triumph win this contest? That is the question.
You better believe that I'm going to be writing somebody at ESPN today asking if I can call play-by-play. Are you kidding me?
Why not?
Yeah. I mean, I'm a lifelong Greenville Triumph fan. Who better than me?
And you also work at an ESPN affiliate in the area, so why not?
Yes. You better believe I'm going to be trying to get in on that. I won't, but I'm damn sure going to try. 7-5 Braves, top of the 7th. Travis d'Arnaud is at the dish. 1-0 count. Swings that foul back out over home plate, so it'll be back into the net. The Braves are 3 pitchers deep into the Nationals bullpen. This is me practicing my play-by-play, Lonzo, just in case they call, you know. Darnold calls timeout, steps back out of the box, so we will reset with the count currently at 1-1. Runner on first, that'll be Ronald Acuna Jr. taking a hefty lead. Pitch and a swing and a miss from Darno. Going to move the count to 1-2. I got to stream local broadcasts for the games that aren't on national TV, and the one thing that drives me crazy about them, Lonzo, is that they only have the score and the count down in the box, so they don't give you like a pitching breakdown, how many pitches, all the detailed little info that a baseball fan's looking for, which is kind of disappointing. Hashtag first world problems. Can't hear you, by the way, if you're talking to us.
I was going to say you're also a tad bit behind too, as far as.
Oh, am I?
Yes, you are.
I'm watching on a stream, so I have no idea how far back it is.
QC Kinetics in the last break.
Outstanding. This will be a quick little segment here.
So I have a major complaint about the Peacock Network, and it's something that I discovered yesterday, and it is that I thought that it was just like, well, for one thing, it's not like the WWE Network, but so I thought you could rewind. You cannot rewind during a live broadcast.
Oh,
So
really?
so I came into the Hall of Fame right around the time where Titus O'Neil was finishing up. And so I planned on rewinding back, and it wouldn't let me. And so I looked it up, and it says certain live broadcasts you cannot rewind, which means it puts me in a conundrum Saturday because, of course, I can't watch WrestleMania live. I'm going to be on the air. My plan was to go home and start it from the beginning. So now I'm not going to be able to do that. So I need to decide, do I go home and just watch it from when I get there and then go back and watch after it's over? Or do I wait till Sunday and just make it an all-day WrestleMania?
I figured you would be doing that anyway.
No, well, believe it or not, when it's nice outside, I'm outside. So I'm going to be outside some. But I don't want to miss some. I know I'm going to get spoiled somehow if I don't go home and watch. So I'm probably going to do that and then just rewind afterwards. So hopefully an earlier match won't impact a later match on the card. And I haven't looked at what the Saturday card is, but I think there was something on there I really wanted to watch. That's probably just the main event. So, but that sucks. I mean, I think you expect when a network changes that you get the same sort of capabilities, and you don't. So I now dislike you, Peacock Network.
But you know what else you get by signing up with Peacock? The entire series of The Office.
Yeah, well.
Did you give up?
Not yet. I've just been busy. So coming back.
Real, unfiltered sports talk brewed locally.
Oh my God, a hipster! Bring him a microbrew, quick!
This is the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. It's ESPN Upstate. Quick little segment here because we are way behind the clock, but I don't care because it was great to have Chris Lewis of the Greenville Triumph on. Again, if you missed it, huge breaking news. May 16th is a Sunday. The Greenville Triumph will be hosting Union Omaha in USL League One regular season play, and they will be doing it live on ESPN2. A national broadcast of that match going to be fantastic. A couple of texts that have been coming in at ESPN. Does anybody actually win those $1,000, or are they being sneaky with wording like you're only eligible if you get all the keywords? No, not only do people win those $1,000, but Zoe, I believe in our cluster, we are at 5 winners now.
It's either 5 or 6. And
Yeah.
You just got to remember it's a national contest, and we are a really big company, and there are a lot of radio stations across the country that are playing this same game. So you can win. Absolutely. The fact that we have that many winners is a testament to how fast and how good you guys are. So keep playing.
Either 5 or 6 winners so far of the $1,000 from our cluster here in the upstate. You could be next. We'll give you that keyword coming up here in about 12 minutes. And at ESPN, as far as Tiger Woods goes, at ESPN, you must be kidding. He has always been above the law. Tiger is one of those guys. There are folks out there that believe in the principle there are two justice systems, one for the rich and one for the rest of us. And Tiger Woods is a very good example of why some people believe that to be accurate. I got a hard time imagining why a guy who it can be proven was doing 83 miles an hour down a 45-mile-an-hour highway and rolls his car over wouldn't be charged at least with speeding or reckless driving. Yeah, I agree with that. All right, quick break. When we come back, everybody's favorite subject, everybody's favorite segment, Twitter trending topic. Zoe tells me what's trending. I'd give you 30 to 45 seconds of what I know about it, or if I don't, I make it up. That's next on The Rob Brown Show. It's ESPN Upstate.
QC Connects.
Yep.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your Amazon or Google smart speaker. Just say, play ESPN Upstate.
If you suffer from pain, if you have been told that surgery is your only option, I am here to tell you there is a better alternative available to you. It is based in science. It is based in biology, and it works. It is our friends at QC Kinetics who offer non-surgical regenerative therapies. That's right. You don't have to get sliced and diced. You don't have to get put under, and you can get rid of that everyday today pain that bugs you. You know, that pain in your knees or your hips when you're just trying to live your life, that pain in your lower back when all you want to do is pick up and laugh with your grandkids. They can help with that. They can help get that day-to-day pain subsided so that you can go back to your everyday regular life. But you got to contact them now, and you can do so. It's very simple. Go to their website, QC Kinetics, QCKINETIX.com, QC Kinetics online. Learn all about the science behind their non-surgical regenerative therapies, or give them a call today in Greenville and Asheville at 864-448-3772, 864-448-3772. Let the folks at QC Kinetics tell you how you can feel better, faster, naturally. Mention the Rob Brown Show and get that consultation for free. It's our friends at QC Kinetics right here in the upstate.
From the 106.3 WORD Weather Center here.
Former FSU wide receiver Travis Rudolph has been arrested on murder charges in Palm Beach County. Well, that's less than ideal. You look just fine, buddy.
Have to do the thing here because the forehead's growing, and They don't like the forehead.
Forehead is growing.
It's I mean, we're not talking Peyton Manning kind of growth, but it's still, there's some growth there. So tomorrow, if I were to come in and have my hair up and wear my glasses, would I still look like a stoner?
You were rocking some very John Lennon-y hippie glasses a few days back.
Those are my actual glasses, yes. And I paid extra for those because I happen to like John Lennon hippie glasses. So and they work really well with my persona. So
very, very Grateful Dead.
Yeah, when I was wearing the New Day tie-dye and came in wearing my glasses, which are transitions, so of course they were dark when I walked in. Everybody in the hallway, the few people that are still here, just stopped and stared. And it's just like, dudes, I've wore this shirt before.
He wears his sunglasses in the studio.
They are, like trifocals or whatever. But the problem is the screens are all in the position where I don't need my glasses. So they're just close enough and not far enough away for it to be. And I thought if I got wire rimmed that it wouldn't hurt my ears when I put the headphones on, and it still does. So I'd rather just not be able to see if that was the case.
Show presents Twitter Trending Topics.
All right, it is time for Twitter Trending Topics, where I will tell Rob what is trending on the internet, and he will tell everybody what he knows about them. The first thing that is trending is Shaquille O'Neal.
Jack Daddy is back on the trends as of right now, though I believe the reason why is because after last night's appearance, Zion Williamson has now 25 straight games with 20-plus points on 50% shooting or better. That ties Shaquille O'Neal back in 2001 as the longest streak of such games, and I don't have any reason to believe that Z won't take it to 26 games and take that lead as the longest such streak since the shot clock era began back in the mid-50s. Zion Williamson continues to do incredible things on the basketball floor, and Zoe, the dude, is getting better by the day, not plateauing, and I love it.
All right, that's not why Shaq is trending, but I mean, way to get in, talk about your boy in there, though. It was a good move to get that in there. And yeah, the reason why Shaq is trending, there's a video out there that he was in a jewelry store, and there was a kid in there buying an engagement ring, and Shaq paid for it for him.
Dude, Shaq's just like, and especially with everything going on with Deshaun and all that, like it's I've gotten back to the point where it's so tough for me, Zoe, to like invest myself away from athletics in a person because you just never know what they are like behind the scenes. But, outside of a couple anecdotes here and there, Shaq just seems like a good dude. Just like a good dude who loves life. I mean, the dude was basically crying when he got to actually wrestle a match in AEW. Inside the NBA on TNT is easily the best sports studio show going right now, and it is because of Shaq and Chuck. He's just a hard guy not to like.
By the way, quick breaking news, the Braves actually won.
Huzzah! I'm in the bottom of the seventh.
Yeah, you're way behind.
I thought I was behind like a handful of pitches. I'm a solid 2 innings behind.
No, hey. they just shook hands, which apparently is legal. And it's a there you go. There you go. There's 7 and they won 7-6. All right, the next thing trending is something that I don't care about, but you might, care about. It is National Beer Day.
I do very much care about National Beer Day. It is National Beer. Happy National Beer Day. to some of us who are very fortunate to live in one of the most incredible beer areas in all the country. We have got microbrews from Asheville down to Greenville, Spartanburg, all the way over into Georgia. And you know what? I feel like I should do some celebrating this evening is all I'm going to say.
Also trending, I don't believe it's related. It is World Health Day.
I can guarantee you those two things are not related. Not in the least. Not in the least. I care about one more than the other. I will let you guess which one.
Of course, you're concerned about your health, and I appreciate that, and so does everyone else.
As you can see by my stellar physique, I have once again, everybody tells me I look like Will Wheaton. I think I look like Bradley Cooper.
At least you're not as fat as Will Wheaton, despite the pictures that you found. All right, the next thing trending is LeVar Burton.
There is a, petition going around right now to Sony Pictures Entertainment to try to get LeVar Burton to be the next host of Jeopardy. I got to tell you that while Aaron Rodgers may not fit the bio of a guy I would think would be the permanent host, so he's done a pretty good job. He's got a very Trebek demeanor, kind of a dry humor, a little snark here and there, and you can tell he genuinely cares about the show. That being said, LeVar Burton was my choice from the beginning.
And also, keep in mind that Aaron Rodgers can rock the mustache if necessary.
True story.
He can do that.
LeVar Burton was my pick from the beginning. He remains my pick, but if it can't be LeVar, I actually am totally fine with Aaron Rodgers holding on to the job. He genuinely cares about doing a good job there, and I respect it. Let's try to win you a grand. What do you say, Upstate? Your keyword for the upcoming 3 o'clock hour in the $1,000 cash dash on ESPN Upstate is jump. Jump! $1,000 make you jump. Jump! Text JUMP, J-U-M-P, to 72881. 72881 for your chance to win a grand, powered by BetQL. Let BetQL's proven data and analytics help you become a better. Download the BetQL app today. Text JUMP, J-U-M-P, to 72881. That's going to do it for the show. We hand it off to Mark Ryan and Diesel for Offside. Stay tuned for that. We're back tomorrow for Masters Day 1. Breakdown of NXT TakeOver Day 1 and more. The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. This is ESPN Upstate. Later. Those of you on the stream, appreciate y'all.